Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. We have quite a show lined up for you this evening, and a special guest will be joining us shortly. Barrie Thong Man Weldon returns. Tonight, Weldon will be talking to us about all of the unrest, the conflict that we're witnessing in our schools, in our communities, our community centers. It's all about the drag queen story time controversy, the LGBTQS plus community, and the freedom movement, and how it's all being handled, the way people are responding, the way people are acting. I'll let Weldon, aka Barrie Thong Man, well-known freedom fighter, tell his own story. He rose to prominence, as you can see from tonight's thumbnail, if you happen to take note of that for tonight's presentation. He rose to prominence within the freedom movement by running around wearing his thong to make a political statement. And he told us about that in previous shows. So he's a colorful character, and there's even more to his story. And he's going to join us to talk about his personal experience, and give us his take on what is going down across the country, even, across the U.S. as well, with regard to this issue. It's something that I think we really need to talk about. I haven't really addressed it much. I did to some degree last night. I know it's a political, cultural, social hot potato. All I had to do was mention it, and it set off a firestorm of controversy with people attacking me, even though I haven't really taken a hard stand one way or the other on a lot of things. But tonight, I'll firm things up a little bit. And then people who disagree with me can escalate their attacks, I guess, which is just fine. No problemo, my friends. So we've got all that. We're going to touch on some other news tonight as well. Some of it local, some of it regional, some of it national, some of it international. We're going to jump all over the place, really. But I need to send a link out to our special guest to make sure that he can join us here on the broadcast. So let me just take care of that. And I'm not sure exactly how far we're going to get with the other news this evening, because we're going to devote a fair amount of time to this subject. Yes, we are. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? I have to find you to send you this message. I'll tell you what, let me take a little break, and I'll get this all lined up, and I will be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate. at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so before we get into all of the drag queen story time, LGBTQS plus stuff, I want to take you first to Essex County, Windsor, Essex. And overnight, there was supposed to be a planning meeting, and it had to be postponed because a big crowd came out and they couldn't accommodate the crowd, which was boisterous. I have a little video here that was shared with me. Let's take a look and see what happened at that event. Here we go. Why is this significant? Everybody's talking about, urban planning, rural planning, 15-minute cities.
We're going to try to find a venue that will handle more people. Thank you so much for coming.
So a lot of people thinking that the county council here had some things they wanted to push through, a hidden agenda, if you will.
I'm gonna sign, yeah. Then we'll get out of here. We'll go talk somewhere else. Yeah.
The main
meeting just got adjourned. So many people. Obviously, the town cares about what's going on with their planning for the future here. They don't want potential climate change initiatives to be involved with their city. And everybody here, they're going to have another venue somewhere.
Yeah, I got to sign.
I try not to back out over you.
So a lot of people with a lot of concerns, and nothing really happened because they kind of
That's the declaration that the town of Essex just put in, or they had in, basically stating that there's a climate emergency here, but I don't see any climate emergency anywhere around us. So enough of this bullshit.
2020 they did that.
Yeah, they did that. It's still in there. Yeah, I mean, like,
And now that
it's time to get rid of it.
on the website on the Ontario policy for this, that they have to follow it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All it is climate change.
It's all driven by the WEF. It all comes from the top. Yeah. What's that? Oh, this is so if you read the town document, this is section 3. This is basically the heart of what they're trying to do. It's all based on climate change. They want to push everything through the mode of that we have an emergency and there's climate change, so we have to initiate these control measures And, you know, we want to monitor how much gas you spend, how much driving, like, there's a lot carbon footprint. Didn't Trudeau just raise the gas prices by 6 cents on April 1st, I think? So it's, because we're, yeah, you can find that. Yeah, you can have that if you want. And then you'll find it. Just go to the County of Essex, yeah. So actually the way you find it is on the County of Essex website. When you go to the meetings, it'll show the meeting, and that's under the January meeting schedule. They released that. So you go on the calendar, you click on January, and you'll see, and there'll be 3 attachments, and that's one of them. That's basically the whole document that we were going to review today. So I have several points. Yeah, that's, I'll go online. Yeah, you'll find it. Yeah, or if you want to take a picture of it or something, it's all good. But yeah, so much information out there that people don't even know that's there. And I just researched, like, I just trying to find this recently.
So let's take a look at the document and the proposed Essex County Council Climate Change Emergency Declaration, shall we? Let's take a look. Here we go. There it is. Proposed Essex County Council Climate Change Emergency Declaration. Keep in mind, folks, that what you're looking at here is something that they're trying to implement in municipalities and rural areas as well. They're trying to implement this kind of agenda and these policies all over the place, all over Canada, the US, even around the world. Whereas the most recent report by the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, has indicated that within less than 12 years, in order to keep the global average temperature increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius and maintain a climate compatible with human civilization, there must be a reduction in carbon emissions of about 45% from 2010 levels, reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And whereas, based on current projections of the future impacts of human-caused climate change will adversely impact Windsor-Essex's local economy, damage local infrastructure and property, put a strain on municipal budgets, and result in significant economic and health burdens for the constituents of Windsor-Essex, particularly our vulnerable populations. And whereas climate change will jeopardize the health and survival of many local plant and animal species, as well as their natural environments and ecosystems, and it goes on. And whereas the County of Essex Conservation Authority, in line with provincial and federal energy policies and programs, and whereas implementing climate action and making a transition to a low-carbon economy also represents a significant opportunity to stimulate economic growth, increase job opportunities, and develop new technologies. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the County of Essex declare a climate emergency in the knowledge that this is an emergency with no foreseeable conclusion, which will require robust and permanent changes in how municipalities conduct their business. And further, in response to this emergency, the need to reduce overall emissions from the City of Windsor and County of Essex, as well as continue to prepare for Windsor-Essex County's climate future, are deemed to be high priorities when considering budget direction and in all decisions of council. So they're going to basically take climate change and superimpose it over everything, every decision, make it mandatory essentially to factor in the climate change agenda into every policy, every decision, everything that is dealt with, addressed by the council. And further, that the county administration be directed to identify priority action items, implementation measures, and cost requirements for those programs and services it is responsible for, to accelerate and urgently work towards the reduction of emissions and preparing for our climate future. And further, that this declaration shall be shared with local municipalities in Essex County who are encouraged to consider endorsing the declaration and identify priority action items, implementation measures, and cost requirements for those programs and services they are responsible for to accelerate and urgently work towards the reduction of emissions and preparing for our climate future. Climate change. Climate change emergency. That's what they were concerned about. That's why all those folks went out to the Essex County Council meeting and basically swarmed the room. So many of them, they couldn't accommodate the crowd. They've had to postpone that meeting. I'm not sure when the next one's going to be held. Climate change. And then, you know, that ideology, that thinking results in restrictions, potentially even lockdowns, which they've talked about, climate lockdowns, climate emergency lockdowns. Climate emergency? I don't subscribe to the ideology. Others do, obviously, and some people who do are in power. People voted for them. There they sit, ready to do that. It's hard to understand how all these municipal councils, all over Canada, the US, North America, the world, how they all get funneled into the same, funneled into this whole agenda. And they're all basically on the same page and they're doing the same things. It boggles my mind, the consistency. Yeah. But somehow they're doing it. They get it coordinated, organized, synchronized, and then away they go. And it has a direct impact on us. What else is going on tonight? Well, there's further intelligence on interference. Rapporteur Johnston's mandate made public, including per diem. What's that all about? Well, this is the special rapporteur that has been appointed by Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to look into foreign interference in Canada's electoral processes. So David Johnston will be empowered, according to additional information, to dig into and access, in terms of secret documents, what has been made public has his per diem. So what are we talking about here? Let me just see. I've got some information coming in. In a pair of order in council releases that were issued this week, the federal government has offered additional details about what Johnston is being mandated to investigate and to what degree he'll be able to access secret cabinet documents. So we know that Justin Trudeau has already announced that Johnston, who is a former governor general, would be required to produce a report by May 23rd, advising him on whether a public inquiry is necessary or if there might be other mechanisms or transparent processes that could get the job done to address the concerns about possible foreign interference in Canada's elections. And then until October 31st, he is supposed to release reports on a rolling basis on issues that are related to shoring up Canada's democracy as those arise. So that is really about it, but he's supposed to be working part-time on this, and his travel and living expenses will be covered within Canada. If he is required to go on the road, the cost of his staff will be covered as required, and any other reasonable expenses as necessary to complete the assignment. He will have access to people and intelligence. He'll be given access to national security intelligence resources, including classified and unclassified records, documents, and personnel. So he's going to be able to review any relevant records, including documents protected by cabinet confidence, top secret stuff. He will work with any recognized political party in the House of Commons to learn how information flowed and what actions were taken. He will speak to the Commissioner of Canada Elections and the chairs of national security oversight bodies, NSICOP and NSIRA, about their work. And he will engage with the Prime Minister's office, the Privy Council office, CSIS, and the RCMP, the Communications Security Establishment, as well as members of the Security and Intelligence Threats to Election Task Force, or the Critical Election Incident Public Protocol Panel, to understand past recommendations and steps taken. So he's going to have a pretty wide berth. Nothing really surprising there, but that's what's being reported tonight on that front. And former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, the media loves him, says that 24 Sussex Drive, the building, the home that is supposed to be the official residence of the Prime Minister, but is currently shut down because of all the rodents that they have discovered stacked in the walls, the carcasses of dead rodents. Chrétien says 24 Sussex has become an embarrassment to the nation. He says after years of warnings that the Prime Minister's official residence was in critical condition, he points to documents that were revealed earlier this week that a rodent infestation played a role in the closure. We know that. And Chrétien has been asked what he thinks should be done to the historic property that is now uninhabitable. And he says that it should be repaired rather than torn down, but he also notes the perceived political hot potato that the issue has been for, many prime ministers. A lot of Canadians are, I think, a little resentful sometimes of any public figure that shows any wealth. And I think they almost resent the Prime Minister living at their expense in what amounts to basically a small mansion. He says the problem is if a Prime Minister accepts to repair it, you guys, you'll write that he's spending the money of the taxpayers. That's right. That's exactly right. So it's a double-edged sword for any Prime Minister that is in office and then spends money on the residents, because that's where the Prime Minister is supposed to live. So in the eyes of the public, it's the Prime Minister using tax dollars to renovate and upgrade his or her personal residence. But of course, it's handed down and handed along. Every Prime Minister that's elected gets to live there. Except now, because it's a rat-infested, condemned junk heap. Because it wasn't maintained. Whose fault is that? Probably partly ours as the public, because we put that kind of pressure on the government and say, don't spend any money on the building. On the other hand, the politicians, they're really supposed to assert the authority they have to make sure that those kinds of assets, public assets, are properly maintained. And it's important to point out that that building is historic, and it is a building that belongs to the people, the government, really. It's ours, right? It is an embarrassment. And even and the Prime Minister needs to live in a place like that, because sometimes he has to entertain world leaders. You can't have the guy living in a hovel. Oh, but he is. That's why I had to move to the cottage, which isn't such a bad place to live either. Nice digs. So we've got all that going on. So Barrie, Thong Man, Weldon will be joining us shortly. Stay with me. I've got other stuff to talk about before he shows up. So do not go away.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now, at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program. For your mind.
Okay, I'm back, and I cannot talk on the phone, so I have to hang this up. Okay, so what do I have to talk to you about at the moment? We have the U.S. Supreme Court refusing to reinstate West Virginia ban on transgender student sports participation. The court has denied West Virginia's request to immediately reinstate a law that would ban transgender student athletes from participating in sports teams consistent with their gender identity. So let's take a look at this on the ABC website. Here it is. ABC reporting that this is a win for a 12-year-old transgender girl and her parents who are challenging the law in a bid to allow her to continue running on her middle school cross country and track teams. It is also a victory for transgender rights, according to ABC, rights advocates, according to ABC, at a time when many states nationwide are enacting similar sports bans, even if the continued injunction is only temporary as legal challenges play out. No explanation from the court tonight on why or how it reached to this decision, though two justices, Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas, issued a dissent. Among other things, enforcement of the law at issue should not be forbidden by the federal courts without any explanation, Alito wrote in the decision. So this report says the High Court was not considering the ban on the merits, but rather addressing the question of whether it should remain on hold while legal proceedings continue in lower courts. We have video here. Let's take a look.
That I am going to make it painful for everyone. Because if you want to inflict pain upon our children, I am going to inflict pain upon this body.
That is Nebraska State Senator Michaela Cavanaugh a few weeks ago pledging to block all state legislation in her effort to stop a bill banning gender-affirming care for transgender youth from passing.
Welcome back to GMA3, everyone. State Senator Cavanaugh is on week 6 of fulfilling that promise. And because of that, no bill has passed that state Senate this year. And now Cavanaugh is on a new mission. Nebraska State Democratic Senator Michaela Cavanaugh joins us now for this GMA3 exclusive interview. State Senator, it's good to see you. Let's jump right into this. You are the first senator in your state to filibuster every bill in your legislature's 90-day session, debating even the ones that you support. And it's all over this bill called LB 574. So what is this bill actually proposing, and why are you so opposed to it?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me. And yes, so LB 574 is a model legislation that we're seeing across the country. It's attacking gender-affirming care for trans youth. And we've seen this being introduced in multiple other states. It's currently tied up in the courts in Arkansas, and Nebraska is just another state that is attempting to legislate hate, and I'm here to stop us from doing that.
You've said you'll continue to filibuster this bill, but doing so is also delaying other important work like dealing with the budget or tackling childcare. Why are you willing to sacrifice these other issues? Do you think this is worth it?
Well, I'm not willing to sacrifice other important issues. What I'm doing is asking the legislature to decide what it is that we want to do this year. What is our agenda? And is legislating hate our priority, or are the things that you just discussed? The budget, childcare tax credits, tax cuts, the economy. These are the things that I believe the legislature should be focused on, not legislating hate. And I'm asking my colleagues to join me in that conversation. So if that means that I have to slow things down and filibuster bills until we can come to some consensus that this is not who we are as a state, then that's what I'm willing to do.
According to the ACLU, there are more than 400 anti-LGBTQ bills. The Human Rights Campaign says about 150 bills target transgender people. Less than 1.6% of the U.S. population is transgender or non-binary. Why do you think politicians on both sides of the aisle are so focused on transgender Americans?
I would say that I don't know why people are focusing on this issue. What I do know is that these policies are an attempt to diminish, dehumanize, demoralize the transgender people in Nebraska and across this country. And we collectively, no matter what political party we belong to, need to stand up against that. It is inappropriate for our public policy makers in this country to be attacking a vulnerable minority population. And I think it is incumbent upon all of us to stand up against that. This is really a crisis of our country and a crisis, at least in my state. And I am asking my colleagues to stand up against this.
We are seeing a lot of discussion about this all across the country. As you mentioned, this is a controversial issue, particularly because it involves children. There are going to be a lot of people who say, this is extreme. Waiting for these kids to grow up to be sure that this is in fact their choice doesn't seem all that extreme. Why do you think these kids need this care now?
I think that every individual deserves access to appropriate health care. And I believe firmly in parental rights and making medical decisions for their children. We are attacking a certain medical care because of who the patient is and how they identify. This is not something that should be in the hands of government. Parents, medical providers, and their children should be making these decisions together. Whether I think medical care is appropriate or inappropriate is completely irrelevant. It is not for me or anyone else to say that this care is inappropriate. It is for a parent, the patient, and the doctor to decide together. And I don't know why we would accept this just because we're talking about transgender children. We wouldn't be having this conversation if we were talking about taking away parental rights when it comes to vaccines. So why are we having this conversation when it comes to transgender children?
Okay, that's an important distinction, whether we're talking about the care or parental rights. Appreciate you making that distinction. Today, you're announcing a new political action committee. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about that and what you hope it will accomplish.
Yes, thank you. I'm starting a political action committee called don'tlegislatehate.org. I am joined with two of my colleagues, Senator Megan Hunt and Senator John Frederickson, both of Omaha. And we've been hearing an outpouring from people in Nebraska and across the country wanting to know how they can support what we are doing and what steps they can take to be activated. And so we decided that this was a good step in the right direction to start a political action committee so that we can support candidates and the conversation to stop this type of legislation across the country and definitely here at home in Nebraska.
Nebraska State Democratic Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate it.
Okay, that wraps up that. Our guest is arriving. Let me go to this transition, and then when we come back, Barrie Thong Man will be with us.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
I'm back, and joining us live, there he is, freedom fighter, former Barrie mayoral candidate, politician, nice guy, my friend Barrie Thong man. Weldon, how are you?
I'm very well, my friend. How are you doing, my beautiful soul?
I am just fine tonight. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, your audio is maybe a little low. Let me just check this. It seems a little low. Can you get it a little closer to your microphone, maybe?
Well, I got an iPad. I'm only about 12 inches away.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
That's not so bad?
Yeah.
My throat's still killing me from Ottawa, all the shouting and having fun.
I see. Well, before we get into the particulars of your story, we are here to talk about the drag queen story time, LGBTQ, all the community, the conflict that we're seeing I'm seeing it every day. And before we get into your story, I just want to show people, and I'm sure they're seeing it themselves anyway on their social media feeds, but this is the kind of stuff I'm seeing constantly now. So here's a post. Stop calling them drag queens, call them groomer clowns if they perform in front of kids. So there's one thing. Hang on a second here. And let me bring up another thing here. And then here's another thing. And there's no shortage of this stuff. And I'm sure you're seeing it too, Weldon. Stuff like this. I don't know what the context is here, but all of these kinds of posts generate strong responses from people. Controversial, I guess. So people have strong feelings about all of this stuff. And then I'm seeing, well, what are we seeing today? This just a short time ago in Ottawa at the Ottawa Catholic District School Board. Here's some video from outside the school board. And this is where I'm seeing it every single day, this kind of stuff now.
Children. Yes, they are not sterilized children. Relax. No. Don't sterilize.
Don't touch my phone. Do not touch my phone. Do not touch my phone. I'm standing exactly where I am. Do not touch me. Guys, we did, and they keep advancing on us. Yeah. It's not on me. Enough. No. Well, how many times do I need to get pushed?
Everybody watch Casey's crying.
How many times? Really? Don't tell me to back up.
No. Do you want a tissue, Casey?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good, but I'm not moving. I am not moving.
My daughter cried last when she fell on the gravel, you big fucking baby.
Cool, man.
Show us those 6 white tears.
Who's a victim?
Daisy's a victim.
Yeah, if somebody could film me, that would be nice. Yeah.
That was awesome. Back up, Daisy. Daisy's pushing. I got it all here. Look at you, you fucking idiot, Daisy. Daisy's leaning back. You see this?
I'm on my side of the line. You guys advanced on me. I am not moving.
I mean, you know that's the most action he's had in months.
He wants some cock in his butt.
I'm live in the studio.
People are under your influence.
Yeah, I'm going to be on video in a second.
Oh, yeah. I see a bunch of individuals standing here. Yeah, none of them come with me. They're disloyal milkshakes. Not on. You can de-escalate this.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could.
See, they are in total agreement. They wouldn't even listen to me. Oh, you could try.
Daisy, why are you leaning back, Daisy?
Oh, don't you worry. He's
it all
getting
here.
this
I've got a
fine
great
pick of
angle,
my
Daisy.
beard here.
You can
You
go
know?
ahead and try to
I'm rent free in his head.
I got it right here, Daisy.
Rent
You're
free.
leaning right back into him. Look how Chris is trying to lean back.
Just always stand.
I have it all here, Chris. Everybody's watching.
Cool.
They can
Very
see
cool.
it.
I know. It's 300 people watching you.
I love
250,
it.
sorry.
You can't edit this, Daisy.
No, of course
The whole
not.
world is watching.
Well, you're not watching your feed.
I'm gonna clip this and show everybody what Daisy's all about.
Yeah, look at that. He's giving you a kiss, Daisy.
Who is the pitcher and who is the catcher?
This person is touching me.
I know, he's in love. He's giving you a bear hug.
There's the line that here's the line that they weren't supposed to cross. They're standing on it and pushing into me. Oh, profanity-laced woman right here. How much pushing I'm supposed to take here? Yeah. I haven't had hugs this long in quite some time.
How did we get here? Weldon, what the heck is going on?
First of all, when have you ever been able to trust your government? When have they ever told the truth? When have they not tried to use fear-mongering to perpetuate their agenda? Their finance depends upon your fear. Okay? No war has ever not been profitable for them. I've met Chris Daisy. I know so much about so many people. In depth, I don't know about them. I don't know what their personal feelings are, but I personally know that I spent 3 years as a transgender. And the last time I checked, it wasn't a bunch of drag queens that were wearing suits and ties on Pedophile Island.
Mm-hmm.
My friends, why are we moving away from the prize, the goal? The goal is to expose these globalist elites and what they're doing. There's an agenda. Who's paying these drag queens? By the way, the last time I went down to Toronto to see a drag show, it was a bunch of heterosexual men that were married that were posing as drag because they couldn't, for whatever reason, they found a way to supplement their income. They have a good voice. Maybe they can't, get a solo artist going. Maybe they can't get a record deal going, but they found a way to supplement their income. I don't see a bunch of drag queens or a bunch of gays or LGBTQ going around robbing banks, selling drugs. It's not a crime affiliate. So why are you all of a sudden, people, why are you believing what has been the goal all along? Why are you believing what they're pushing? The agenda is to separate us and create dissension, create separation and hatred. Okay, I mean, I gotta so much what I want to say. I mean, I love them to death. People have asked me, what do you think about the gay community? I'm like, Rick, they piss me off because it doesn't matter how much I spend on my wardrobe, I still can't look as good as them. They're not violent criminals, people. Where have you ever seen them on the front lines of the newspapers? Okay, there are so many of them out there. Now, they're paying people. Okay, we know the government is paying people. There's all kinds of government grants out there. So, first of all, if people are being paid to go and perform and they're starving, as you have, sorry, I shouldn't put a blatant label on everybody. As many people have concerned their criticism, expressed their criticism towards the police for not standing down, for doing their jobs, for forcing these, draconian rules. And we in the freedom movement are all about peace and love, and I hope many of them are. I believe they are. I know so many wonderful people, but those police have a mortgage. They have children. Many of them are like you and I. They're doing everything for the right reasons. They don't want to do it. I don't want to go to work every day, right? They got a mortgage to pay. They got children. They got they got lives. They're dependent on their work, their jobs. Mm-hmm. So maybe some of these people have lost their jobs. Maybe some of them need to pay a mortgage. Maybe some of them have children, but they're getting paid by the government. So why are you going to the, to directly to the source? Why aren't you going directly to the source? Why are you going to the person who's giving you the news? These drag queens are being paid. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Who's paying them and why?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? That ear, is that a microphone that's supposed to be connected?
No, that's a Bluetooth. But
okay.
Do you want me to shut that off? I'll shut that off.
No, it's not that. It's just you are still a little bit off microphone. The audio isn't really quite the best. I'm just.
I'll get a little bit closer. I'm on my iPad because well, they're playing games with my cell phone, and I had to reset it 3 times about half an hour ago, and it's all your fault, my friend. They're worried about you.
No doubt. I don't doubt that a bit. So let's kind of dissect this and unpack it a little bit. I've been saying for the last few weeks that as far as I can tell, it looks to me like both sides in this are being manipulated. On the drag queen story time, LGBTQ gay community side, I think it's exactly what you're saying. You have the government and political groups pushing an agenda and coughing up money, and creating a program where you have these people incentivized to go in and provide shows. In some cases, even in schools, which in my view is entirely inappropriate, but elsewhere, sometimes in libraries and just to get out there and provide this kind of, I don't know if you'd call it entertainment. I guess it's entertainment, or these shows, right? So that's being driven by the government over there. And then over here on the other side, you have social media posts and people being told you have to get out there and protest this because they're grooming our kids. You have to save your kids, save our kids. So then you get the freedom group, or people who are upset, or church people. I don't know who it is exactly, but I see a lot of people from, the freedom movement there. And then they go out and protest this stuff, and which triggers another response from the other side, which is, they hate us. They're told that the people protesting hate them. So you have to counter protest and get in their face. And now I hear on both sides now, we have to save our children. So the people on the drag queen story time, LGBTQS plus side are sitting there saying, we have to save our children from the hateful people over there because they want to destroy us. So they're all trying to save their kids. And I'm standing back watching all of this madness. And I see videos like we just rolled every day, and I see all this anger. I see hate. I see conflict. I see pushing and shoving, and it's getting worse by the day. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to participate in it. I see both sides just being played so that they come together and fight. And everybody keeps participating. And I'm like, why don't they all just walk away? But I don't know, man. What do you think, Weldon?
3 years ago, when I started this movement, may I say pandemic, Rick? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
When this started 3 years ago, I had not a lot of faith in humanity. And then as things progressed, I realized how many beautiful people there are, how many freedom fighters are out there. And we're all pushing for critical thinking. And I got to say, as much as I love them, so many of them, people have come to be so endearing to my heart. I've got this renewed faith in humanity. As a matter of fact, I mean, as a kid, you had to choose a superpower, right? If you could be any superhero, whether it be Spider-Man, Batman, and as things progress, the X-Men. I mean, I love Mystique, right? Who would you want to be, Rick? Do you have a superhero that you would like to emulate? If you had one superpower, tell me, what would you pick?
I wish that I could have the power and and be good like Superman, but be cool like Batman.
He's pretty stud. So I since I have begun this journey with these beautiful freedom fighters, I realized that the best superpower that I could have is to remember every one of their names and to remember something special about them, because they're beautiful people and they're preaching about critical thinking, about free thinking, about not believing the agenda, but yet here they are being sucked in and swallowed in to this storytelling bullshit going on. Guys, when have you ever seen a bunch of gay community going out robbing banks, selling drugs? They're all about love. Okay, they may like it up the bum, but it's not little kids' bums, man. Come on, you know that. God damn it, wake up! It's another. Don't watch what the left hand's doing. Sorry, I'm on video here. Is that my right hand? This is my left hand. Don't watch what the right hand's doing. Watch what the left hand's doing. Guys, get over it. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the LGBT community. Okay, think about it. Who are the most famous artists in the world? Rick, do you ever remember watching Imitation Game? Do you ever see that movie, The Imitation Game? Wonderful movie about World War II. There was a machine to decipher the German code. They always managed to stay one step ahead of us, right?
Yep.
And the lead scientist in that, he built one of the world's largest computers. If you watch the movie, okay, he was gay, but back then it was illegal. And we've got so many famous people that have contributed so much in the world: singers, artists, musicians, scientists that had to stay quiet and have been persecuted because of the agenda, the government, people that are trying to push the hatred. Because if we unite, and you've seen my truck, that's why I call it the Unity Mobile, because unless we learn to love and we stop the hate and stop, tell me the last time you've seen a pedophile who was, dressing in drag, and unless they're doing it for money and show, man, they're loving people. Last time I looked, it was suit and ties. It was the government people who was on Pedophile Island. Look at when's the last time anybody's paid attention to that black book, the flight log? Okay, it wasn't a bunch of drag queens. Guys, wake up. They are beautiful people, and they've contributed so much to the gay community. Because why? Because they're free thinkers. They're critical thinkers. They don't have the hatred. They're not subject to the way we have been indoctrinated. When's the last time you believed your parents? You fought with them your whole lives. Okay? Mom, I don't want to. Dad, I don't want to. You never believe them. You always question them. And how many of you turned out just like your parents? Well, your parents were taught the same thing. They were indoctrinated. This has been going on for over 100 years. You've got to get a job. Don't perform and over excel. Learn just enough. Get an education to turn the buttons, to turn the dials, push the buttons. Get a white picket fence. Get married. Have children. Go and get work your 9-to-5 job. It's been indoctrinated. How do you know your parents were taught properly and your grandparents were taught properly? They were taught hatred. They were taught so much. How do you know they're right? And how do you know that you're right? But one thing I know is that this has got to stop. The hatred is never going to win. Hate begets hate. Love begets love. Love will not always conquer hate. But one thing will happen is love will finally be acknowledged, whereas the haters will be ousted and brought forth for what they are. People that are not going to contribute positively in society. So please stop the hatred It's not the drag queens. It's the politicians. It's the government. If you don't want your kids to watch this show, pull them out of school. If you're in a library and some drag queen comes in and starts a show, go, well, you know, they got to make a living, but my kid's not going to see this. I don't see what the big deal is. Take them out of the library. Go to your town council meetings, people. Get involved. Go to your town council. Go and write to your MPs, your MPPs, and tell them that you will not have this indoctrination. Rick, have you heard about SOGI 123?
No, you were telling me about it earlier, and I'm interested in what you have to say about that.
SOGI, SOGI 123, and it is about acceptance of the transgender community, which I'm totally for. But you know what? They started this out in BC, and it's spreading across our school systems Canada-wide. My friend Dee, I won't mention her name any more than that, her grandkids were over visiting, and the older one, I believe they're 7 and 5. And he said, ask Nana. Maybe Nana knows. And she'd ask Nana what, and he goes, no, she won't know. And he goes, what? Ask me what? And he goes, do we use a shaver or razors? What's the best way to keep our bum clean so that we can put things in it? Right away, what would you think if your children or your grandchildren come home to discuss that? Okay, this is not the transgender communities. This is your public school teaching you this. So if they're letting transgenders into school and they're teaching SOGI 123, you have to question, why are they teaching children as young as 5 and showing them explicit cartoons and videos? Stop going to the voice of the performers. Who's paying the performers? Who is leading this attack on our children and our society? Stop the hatred. Collectively together, we must unite and stop this hatred, my friends.
That's the thing, though, isn't it, Weldon? I mean, that's been my assessment of this. Is it started off with concerns about drag queens going into schools and performing for kids, but it has developed into something much broader than that. I see, honestly, homophobia. It's turned into an anti-gay community, anti-LGBTQS plus movement. It's just morphed into that. And I'm not really surprised, because they're pushing people's emotional buttons. They're using fear, they're using hatred, and they're telling people that their kids are at risk, which is, of course, going to trigger a lot of, very extreme responses from people, because you're going to want to protect your kids, and people are fearful of that. So this is what we've got. I think it's terrible that people are being, I think, played.
Fear
like this. Yeah.
Fear is crippling. Okay. I believe there's 7 fears, fear of losing a loved one, fear of criticism, fear of ridicule, fear of a loss of income, fear of death. Okay. There are 7 fears, and they're absolutely crippling. And this is why the globalist elites perpetuate war, and because their fear depends upon their profit. And whatever their agenda may be, its access begins with fear, but fear also begins with ignorance. And if you believe it and you have nothing to base it upon, then perhaps you need to take a step back and educate yourself. Because and Rick, does everybody know that I spent 3 years as a transgender? Do you want to show a couple of those pictures?
Yeah, sure. Did you send them to me?
I did. I don't know if you've seen them or not.
Let me see if I can find them here.
I did send them.
Okay.
So while he's trying to find these photos, my father was old school. He came from a fishing village in New Brunswick, Bathurst, New Brunswick, and he came from a small town, Nigadoo, which is near North Tettagush in New Brunswick. And my father was as old school as it gets. I mean, he was everything a macho man would want to be. And I never, ever appreciated what he was. I mean, you can become your parents or you can question your parents. And my father was, well, let's put it this way. When I was 15 years old and I brought home girlfriends, I caught him in bed with my 14-year-old girlfriend. He has 3 nieces, and he's deceased now. And even if he wasn't, I would speak of this because the whole family knows about this. He slept with 2 of his nieces, his own brother's daughter. I know of 2 out of 3 for sure. Okay, so I wanted to be nothing like him. If that's what a man is, I wanted to be nothing like him. He was that typical. Oh, men don't cry. Men don't cry. Suck it up, Buttercup. Okay. Well, when I came out to him full time,
And I can't find your pictures, by the way. I'm not seeing them anywhere.
I'm sure I sent them to you.
Email?
But how did I send them? I thought I sent them by text.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't pull them off my text to get them.
Can't pull them out of text.
No.
Well,
Anyway, just continue on. It's okay.
So I wanted to be nothing like him, and I think that is a strong reason why I became a transgender. And I came out full time about 5 years ago on Facebook. I love women so much. I adore women. I always wanted to be like one, and I consider myself a lesbian. And a lot of people said, well, are you going to go full out? Are you going to get the full surgery? And I went, no, I kind of like that part. I'm going to keep it. And they went, well, but lesbians don't like dick. And I said, you're absolutely right. I said, but they do like penis. They just don't want the dick that comes with it. And that might be a sentiment that comes with a lot of lesbians, right?
By the way, folks, this might not be entirely family friendly. Just warning you after the fact.
And these are the views and opinions of mine and not the show's. And Rick knew nothing of this. We did not go over this. And Rick, I apologize, but you know 100% I will speak the truth. I'll be the last person to ever stab you in the back. Yeah. I will tell the truth as I see fit. And whether or not you're ready to hear it, the way you're going to wake up and view the world and make change is by opening your ears up and seeing and listening and understanding and believing in your heart that people genuinely, inherently are children and fathers and mothers. People inherently are beautiful people. There's only one common denominator, and that's the governments and the corruption and the globalist elites that are trying to create the separation. Stop following their little bouncing ball. Concentrate on the main goal. That is to prove that our governments are being coerced by big business. I won't go into that. You know, the big pharma and all that. It's all about profits. I mean, think about it. If they made one little red and you're cured, where's the profit in that? Okay, they don't want you to take one. They want you to take hundreds a day for the rest of your life. Okay, that's what profit's all about. Now, if you can get that into your thick skulls, we'll have no problem convincing you of the rest, because it so easily follows suit with why things are happening, and it all has to do with profit, and it all has to do with greed.
But let's focus on the issue at hand, because I
so am, Rick. It all has to tie in together.
Yeah,
they're indoctrinating you and our children. Do you know? Okay, closing the floodgates. Kate and Gillies, you got to have her on your show, my friend. You got to have her on your show. I went out to a rally, a convoy, out near Shelburne, and I met her husband, and she was touring the United States. She's a doctor, a PhD. She was traveling through the United States. She actually stopped her car because her husband Bob wanted me to talk to her because he found out I was transgender. She's been studying and diligently trying to close this pedophile ring. Our children are being consumed by the system. Okay, the Children's Aid Society here in Canada, the Child Services in the United States, every child, according to her, represents over $1 million. Okay, children, I believe, you got to have her on the show. I think it's 9 times more likely to disappear and die while in custody of child services. So they're targeting families who cannot stand up for themselves, families who are vulnerable, who are poor, who are uneducated, and they're getting complaints, and they're having their children taken away, and their children get taken, and they try their best to get their children back, and their children slip into the cracks and they disappear. Okay, and there are so many. Can I flip open to a page or two, Rick? Do you mind? Or is this another story?
Well, I think we're veering off a little bit off course here.
I'm not, because I'm saying they're trying to influence our children and indoctrinate them and teach them so that they can push their agenda, which is worldwide pedophile rings, which has been going on, and we know what's going on. Have her on your show. I won't go any more into it. Okay.
Sure.
And Kelly's closing the floodgates. But
so today I spoke to somebody else who comes from the transgender community, and this person told me that that they've been involved with the freedom movement. They came over to sort of the conservative side of the political spectrum, but now they're leaving. They're leaving to go back to really the left because of all the arguing, the conflict that they're witnessing. They don't feel that they're welcome anymore in whatever is left of the freedom movement. How do you feel about that? Is there still a place for you here?
My question, you know what? I've never felt so much love. I've never hidden a damn question about myself. I've always been 100% open and honest. I have absolutely no secrets. And until you can live your life as an open book, people will never be able to accept you for who they are. My father was a closet gay person. And when I came out to him, he had asked me over and over again, are you gay? Are you gay? I said, Dad, I'm a lesbian. I'm engaged to a woman. Okay. And he goes, but have you ever, And I went, why would it matter? Would it make any difference? He goes, no, because I've always wondered, Wow. Really? So he lived his life an entire lie. Now, I want to ask all you freedom family about all the love. Okay. And we're all about unity. You got all these groups out there, Ottawa through unity, freedom through unity, unity. And yet the minute that our school system, which is led and financed by our political system and our governments, the minute that the school system and the libraries, which guess who funds them? The government. So the minute that there is any distraction and all you supposed lovers who are supposed to love everybody are immediately jumping on the bandwagon and you don't see what's going on and you're starting to throw your hatred towards the LGBT community, of course they're going to leave. Of course they're going to leave. The only thing they're guilty of is looking goddamn better than I am. They're not a bunch of pedophiles. They're showmen. They're performers. Okay, they're lovers. They're the original critical thinkers. They didn't believe what you and your parents were indoctrinated to think, that a man and a woman are the only things you can be. A man shouldn't be with a man. A woman. Says who? Says who? Look at the animal system. Look at the monkeys. Look at dogs. They hump each other. Come on, it's science. It's human. How many ambidextrous? How many animals are both sexes? They can switch sexes. There are tribes in Africa that they don't know until they hit puberty. That some of them lose their sexual parts. Okay, there is nothing in science that says it's not okay to feel an attraction towards the same sex. Okay, we cannot procreate and we cannot populate the planet unless we fertilize a female. I'll give you that. And again, I believe women are the most beautiful creatures on the planet. I adore them so much. And I'll tell you one thing that I believe: if women were the rulers of the planet, there would probably never be a war. Why? Because what mother in her right mind would send her child off to die? Whereas a father, a man, many of you know this, you get your egos in the way, okay? And you go, son, he insulted me. Go kill him. I'm this again is my opinion, but there is women are soft. They're beautiful. They are necessary to reproduce and populate our world. And men have for generations and generations sought for their affections and to make love to women. Okay. But how many men out there have the Wonder what it's like to, right? That's fine. Stop lying to yourself. Stop hiding and stop saying that it's wrong just because your parents and your grandparents were taught by the education system that you are now criticizing for teaching you what's right and wrong. They have done it for 100 years, and they have been manipulating you to believe what they want, to indoctrinate us in a system of totalitarianism, and they do not want us to unite. So stop the hatred, start loving each other, and stop blaming people for what they believe and who they are, and start going to the source and seeing where the problem is coming from. And the problem is those who are funding these so-called drag shows. Okay, it's not the gay community. People, stop hating on the gay community, please.
And that in your view, is that what we're witnessing? It's gone. It's that's actually what's happening at this point now. It's moved on from protesting drag queen story time for kids to a full-on anti-gay effort, I guess. I won't call it a movement, but it's an.
I was involved in a Facebook altercation where this drag queen, there was a photo of a drag queen, was pushing back and following back from hatred. Obviously, I mean, if somebody yells and screams at you, it's not going to give you the loving feeling that you're adoring and yearning for. You're going to obviously defend yourself. And this wonderful drag person came at me like I was one of the accusers that is accusing them of trying to run some kind of underground pedophile ring, and rightfully so. They were angry, and I showed them a picture of me as Amanda, and I said, buddy, I don't know what you think I am, but maybe you should do your research before you judge other people. And you know what? There's very few people in the freedom movement who don't know who I am. And every one of them, some of them have been shocked, but they already knew who I am. And they already know what's in my heart, what's in my soul. And I've been able to open up a lot of conversations, and many of them have been perplexed as to how they could have followed into this agenda and so easily have been manipulated to believe that the gay community is the reason why we're indoctrinating pedophilia in schools. I mean, come on. It wasn't them. It was the suits and ties on Pedophilia Island. How many people were on that flight log? Why are they not so concerned about what's in that flight log? How many people went to that island, and how many people participated in child prostitution? But they're concerned about some drag shows, about somebody making $10,000. Hell, give me $10,000. I'll show up. I don't know where. I'll show up and do a drag show. I wouldn't do it in front of children. I think it's despicable. I think our children should be kept. Okay, my mom had her period. She told me when she was 9 years old. I don't know the female anatomy. All I know is when I started the hormones, I wanted all the good stuff. I didn't want it. Sent me right into menopause. I didn't sign up for that. I wanted the nails, the hair, the makeup. Okay, I went right into happy, sad, hot, cold. I went into menopause. But my mother told me at 9 years old, she started to get menstruation. I've asked women, I've asked a lot of women, some of them will get it till they're 12, 13, 14 years old. Okay, that is something that should not be discussed in a class full of little boys and girls. That is something that should be discussed amongst a bunch of young girls when they are, I don't know, what's the earliest a young girl experiences menstruation. You don't want this to hit her as a shock. There's going to be spotting. There's going to be, there's going to be blood. It's menstruation. 8, 9, 10. Okay, but you talk about that one specific scientific phenomenon that happens to young girls. Rick, I don't know. I think I was 14 when I had a wet dream. When I first started experiencing that. How may I ask, how old were you?
I don't want to answer that question.
Well, that's fine. I get it. Okay, so but my point is, everybody develops at a different age. But you don't talk to a room full of young girls about when men have a wet dream or boys have a wet dream, and you don't talk to a bunch of young boys about when a girl hits her menstruation cycle, but you need to have them prepared so that they don't feel like there's anything wrong. You need to have them prepared. Okay, not this Soji 1, 2, 3 where they're showing sexual positions. I'm sorry, children need to be in a playground. Okay, they need to be pulling ponytails. Yeah. They need to be eating dirt and fishing and skipping rope. And you know, dreaming about that touchdown, that NHL goal that they scored in hockey, dreaming that it's Game 7 of the NHL, and they just scored the Game 7 overtime winner to win Lord Stanley. That is what children need to concentrate on, not the rest of this bullshit. And you guys need to protect your children from an education system that is altering that. Not against the people who are being hired by the education system. Stop hating on the transgender. Stop hating on the drag queens. They're not the problem.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So we're back with Weldon, Barrie, Thong Man, talking about the ongoing conflict, the demonstrations that we're seeing at school boards, the drag queen story time issue, and the response from the freedom community, the more conservative side. And Weldon, as you've indicated, you spent a number of years living as a transgender person who I guess you identify as a lesbian. And this is something that a lot of your friends are aware of. You about 5 years ago, you said you came out and on Facebook and let people know exactly what you were all about. And you know, I've seen a shift in attitude. I have to be quite honest with you. If you go back just over a year ago to the convoy in Ottawa, that was all about inclusivity. People were like, everybody's welcome here. We love everybody. Everybody's getting hugs. It was a love fest. You fast forward to today, I'm going to be quite frank with you. I've heard people talking about you behind your back a little bit, just because of all of this conflict, the anger. All of the demonstrations that we're seeing, and it's a constant bombardment of information on the freedom side, and you know that spilled over into even negative comments about you, just because they've seen you in your thong demonstrating, right? And we've talked about that in the past when we had you on the show explaining all of that. So you know, it concerns me because, man, you're one of the nicest people I know. You're so welcoming. You're warm and friendly. You're one of the nicest guys I know, and it hurts my heart to hear people talking like that. Not just so much about you. I've only heard a couple of little things, you know, comments about the thong, but it's just all the anger directed at the gay community. It really disturbs me. And again, I wonder, do you feel like there's still a place for you here? I hope so.
As much as I despise Tristan Trudeau, I got to thank him for 2, maybe 3 things he's done that are wonderful. One, he's lit a flame under my ass that'll never go out. And 2, he's united a country. And also on top of that, he's awoken the world as to the type of tyranny that's going on. So thank you, Tristan Trudeau, for your ill-gained fame. And what is going on in the world is,
and I just got to caution you, because I don't want to have to take the video down because of the censorship stuff. So if you're going to refer to the thing where, you know, we talk about Kool-Aid around here, but we don't talk about any.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
Okay.
not going to talk about that. So
because I want to be able to leave this up for people to view it, right? On
Absolutely.
all the.
So I have been hearing this, and I've been fighting back to educate. That's all I do is educate, to educate myself. Education comes from the Latin word educo. Educo means to draw or to educe from within. Okay. Education will lead to wealth, not monetary wealth, inner wealth. Once you gain inner wealth, you will become wealthier and more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And then and only then can you concentrate on monetary gain. But it's all about educating yourself and educating others. And all I have done for the last 2 months is going, guys, why are we concentrating on these drag shows? Why are we concentrating on the LGBT community? You know I'm one of them. You know I spent, look, I got to show you. Rick, you didn't have it. There I am. There I am. I spent 3 years full time. Okay. And that was before hormones. You should have seen me when I was on hormones. Okay. I fortunately got an A cup out of the, I think everybody should spend 3 years of their life as the opposite gender to have an appreciation of what it's like. Do you know what women go through? My goodness. You get to sleep in, wake up, brush your teeth, run a cloth across your face, comb through your hair, and run out the door. They got to get up an hour before we do. There's no doubt in my mind that women are the superior creatures on the planet. That's why you all want to get in their pants. Well, at least if you're not gay. And if you don't, well, all the power to you. Rick,
yeah,
I want to say this is more than just one subject. This is not about the LGBT community. This is a broad spectrum of one basic problem that needs to be addressed. And that is, why are you not educating yourself? Why are you listening and being indoctrined and not being a critical thinker, a free thinker? You know, look at Rod Stewart. Look at The Imitation Game. He was gay. Some of the best contribution in the world, some of the best inventions, the best science, the best music, the best art has come from the gay community. Why? Because they're critical thinkers. They're not worried about you, whether or not you like penises or vaginas. They're worried about what's inside you, what's in your heart. And you people out there who are criticizing other people need to look deep inside your heart and wonder what it is that's making you hate and why. Are you truly being educated? Or are you being indoctrinated? Are you listening to the left, far left? Are you listening to the right? Who's indoctrinating you? Okay, you question your parents growing up your whole life, and how many of you turned out to be just like them? Okay, you didn't want to turn out like them, but some of you did. I went to the absolute extreme opposite. My father was hardcore, old school. Okay, men are men. Men don't cry. Bullshit. Men shed a tear. That shows your sensitive side. Okay, we all need to understand and love everybody. Stop believing and stop hating. Start using your mind and do your own research. Okay. It's got to do with everything. Chris Sky. Can I go to Chris Sky for a second?
Yeah.
When I started getting questioned, what do you think? What do you think? Chris Sky for Maris. I don't really know him personally, but you know, anybody who's done what he's done, I got to applaud it. Anybody in the freedom movement, anybody who's raising awareness as to what's going on, the global agenda, that 3 letters that starts with a W. I don't know what I can and can't say, so I don't want to The people that have contributed, okay, and Chris Sky has been out there since day one, like myself. He's spending his money. He's traveling around the world trying to educate, as I am. That's why I wear these. That's why I have that truck. That's why I wore the thong, was to raise awareness, to have people come to me, because I don't want to be driving it and shoving it down people's throats. I wanted people to approach me. And Chris Sky went out there and he spent all his money. He sacrificed his time. He sacrificed his business. He's been arrested and exonerated many times. I don't believe he's ever been charged for a crime or convicted of a crime.
Well, yeah, we can get Chris back on the program again, and he was on the other night. So I want to try and stay focused. But
my focus is the people that gossip and talk about Chris. I've heard that he has been. He's a heroin addict. He was charged. He did jail. He did time. And I'm like, look it up. It wasn't the same birthday. So this has got nothing to do with Chris Sky. This has got nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. This has got nothing to do with the drag shows. This has everything to do with wake up and educate yourself. Stop opening your mouth before you open your ears and your eyes. Okay, there's a reason why the good Lord gave you 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. Maybe shut up and listen and look and learn before you go out there and you start talking. Because I'll tell you right now, you've been out there for 3 years and you've been pushing and trying to make a difference, and you think that you're going to change the world. And right now, the best thing that I see is love and unity, and you're against that. You people who I love, my friends who I have stood side by side in Ottawa and in Montreal and in Niagara Falls, you Freedom family who I love and you know who you are now preaching hatred towards the gay community because they're indoctrinating you and you're listening to the agenda. The same as you are doing the same with Chris Sky. He is our greatest hope right now, and you're spreading gossip and rumor, and it's got nothing to do with anything. It's one simple solution. Stop saying things because my sisters, uncles, nephews, cousins, dogs, best friend told me so it must be true. It's not true unless you are a free thinker, a critical thinker. Take off your damn glasses, open your ears, and pick up a book and learn something before you go out and open your mouth and spread separation and anger and hatred. Put these on and look through my eyes, people. Look through my eyes.
I'm just looking in the chat here, Weldon, and
I'd love some questions. Rick, can we take questions?
Yeah, we can. If you have questions for Weldon, type them in the chat and we'll put them up.
Anything you want to know, people. Hit hardcore. I got nothing to hide. Neither does Chris Sky, and neither do the transgender communities. They bear it all. And sometimes I believe it's in the wrong situations at the wrong times. But, hey, we all make mistakes. But they're being paid to go into schools.
That's the thing. I see just total destruction across the board on all sides. I don't know why people suddenly thought that it was a good idea. Like anybody from the, the LGBTQS plus community thought it was a good idea to go into schools. They're told that it's to promote tolerance, I guess, of their lifestyle or whatever. But in fact, I see it having exactly the opposite effect. I think it has set back relations, tolerance by decades.
Hey, Rick, let's look at it this way. They're getting paid to do a job. So are the police. And how many people are you are pissed off that they wouldn't stand down? How many of you are pissed off that they ran over our people with horses and horse shit and took away our rights and violations? Okay. You want to be angry? You want to be angry at the police for doing their jobs? You're going to be angry you're going to be angry your whole life. Okay. I don't know why they did it. I wish they didn't do it. I wish they did stand down, because if half the police force, would stand down and come on our sides, like Aaron and the rest of those wonderful police officers, we would have global noncompliance. And everybody would say no. And so don't blame the transgenders for doing what they have to do to get paid. If they may not even be transgenders, you don't know that. They could be somebody paid Antifa. The government's paying to create the hatred, to create the separatism. You don't know. You don't.
Well, then I'm going to send you a link to a different page for you to sign in. And I'll send it on your Facebook account here. And if you sign it, if you log out of here, then go log in over there. We'll take phone calls from people. And then you can actually hear what they're saying and talk to people just with me and the people when they call in instead of just taking the chat. How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful, my friend.
Be more interactive that way.
All right.
So let me send this to you over here.
And I just go into my Facebook and there'll be a
There's the link is, that's not the right one. That's not the right link. Hang on a second. I'm going to get it for you. Not that one. You want, not that. You want this. There you go. That should take you into that. So Weldon's on his way over to the other page. I'm going to get the phone lines set up and we can have a conversation with Weldon when we come back. Do not go away. Stay right where you are. Don't touch that dial. You know the drill.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, I'm back, and we are just waiting for Weldon to join us on the other system so that he can be integrated into the phone system so you guys can join the conversation. Here we go. And we'll bring it up like so. Now we're configured properly and ready to start taking calls. And we can start with the calls now while we wait for Weldon to show up. Here's, I think, is it Joey?
Shelly.
Shelly?
Yeah.
How are you tonight?
All right. And you?
Well, I'm just fine, thanks.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Glad you're safe.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you're safe too. I hope you're safe.
Oh, I am. Thank you.
Yes. So go ahead and share your thoughts while we wait for Weldon, Barrie Thong man, to rejoin us.
Yes. Hi. Now, with a lot of things that are going up nowadays, it's the government's trying to get this, LGBTQ plus program, right?
Yeah.
And I was just, thinking, and I think it's, I can understand with, with being, gay and, at least, people can identify as male or female. And with this LGBTQ plus whatever program, is that there's like how many pronouns now? There's like
Right.
80s, so
I
many
have
pronouns
no idea.
now
I don't know.
to identify as. Now, you've lost sovereignty, totally lost your sovereignty if you cannot, identify properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, I'm not a racist. I'm not against anybody. I was raised in a house where my parents were not racist. They were pretty open and honest with us about what was going on in the world. And, it's hard to explain. But anyway, if you identify as anything else, like even my son, he's 12 years old, and he was talking to me about people that identify as furries. Like, what the heck's that? He's like, people identify as dogs and cats. I'm like, okay, or some kind of animal, right? But animals do not have rights. They're wild. So, it's just weird how people want to identify nowadays. I'm not out to hate anybody.
Well, Weldon is
At all.
with us. Do you have any questions for him?
Hi, Weldon.
Hi.
Hi. Actually, I'm just saying I understand with the gay and the lesbian communities that, like, you can identify as male or female, right? Now, with a lot of the communities out there, they're identifying as animals or, something else. And as far as I'm concerned, at this point, they've lost their sovereignty. What do you think?
Lost their sovereignty? I'm not quite
yes,
sure.
Yes, as soon as you don't identify, if you're a male or a female.
Well, I guess the way that I would describe it is that the most wonderful human beings that I've ever met don't over exceed being exceptionally male or female. I think they meet somewhere in the middle. And I believe that, Halloween is one of the greatest, holidays that we ever have. And that's because we all like to step out of reality and pretend to be somebody that we're not. So can you truly appreciate why people might want to pretend? And of course, a lot of people do things for attention. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I like to have fun, and I like to know people for genuinely who they are.
Yeah, no, I get it, but Halloween was, invented back in the 1800s, 1700s.
So my question to you is, I don't really understand what you're getting at, but are you suggesting that there was no gay people or lesbian people or people who did not think outside the narrative back then? I'm not sure what you're asking me, my dear, but I'll be happy to try and answer.
Yeah, I fully understand that, but I understand really that there was gay and lesbians back in, let's go back to, Cleopatra. Back then, there was gay and lesbians back then too.
Right. I mean,
okay.
What are you asking me? I've lost the question.
Okay, hold on.
Hello, Thong man.
Hello, my.
Okay, just let me ask you one question, and I would like to hear your explanation of this. Okay, now don't get us wrong. My wife means the best, just she's not very well versed. You're talking a little Wolverine.
Hi.
Okay? Hi. Rick knows me well. Now, let me ask you a question, okay, please? And if you can answer this directly, I guarantee you, you'll have no opposition from me.
I do my best. I'll do my best.
Okay. I am 50-50 square down the middle in regards to anybody's walk of life. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. Among the community that is doing the drag queen shows, okay, where have the principles died within the person that is dressed up in drag to perform in front of a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old without any recourse or any type of bad feeling within themselves that they're doing something wrong, promoting something to a younger generation that is innocent? Where is it that you people can draw the line and say this is acceptable, regardless whether your money is funded from the government or not? Where are your principles? That is where our boundaries have been overstepped. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, and you let me know when you'd like my answer. I'll be happy to give it.
I'd like your answer on that.
Well, first of all, I don't know who these drag queens are. I don't know if they truly represent the drag queen community or the LGBTQ community. I truly agree with you that it's despicable. And I brought up Soji 123, and I brought up the fact that our children should be kept as such, and they should not be indoctrinated. They should be allowed to, sit in the sandbox, eat worms, and eat dirt and fish and play sports. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. But do we know that these people are actually representatives of the gay community? And the same question would go to apply. Where are the morals of the police officers who pulled out batons and smashed Indigenous people and sprayed us with pepper spray when we were peaceful? So my question to you is, everybody is doing things. This is a crazy time. And instead of spreading hatred, maybe we need to go and follow the source and go right to the point and investigate deeper, as opposed to labeling people. Because I really don't know who these drag queens are, and I don't agree with it. And I don't agree with it in schools. So I'm totally with you, my friend.
Okay, well, kudos to you, and I appreciate your, honest opinion or answer to this. But you also have to understand, too, that, yes, like throughout even my life, I have come across sexual deviancy throughout my 60 scoop and residential and adoption and so forth, not only with myself, but that of my sister. So I've seen the perverted side of society, so to speak. But the thing that I don't get at is, I understand, the government comes in, throws a flashy paycheck. Okay, we'll get these people doing this, that, whatever, but we have to look at the bird that's in the middle, not the right or the left wing, but the bird in the middle, exactly where it's coming from. This is the area that we need to come together.
Yes.
I don't get down on people making a living. I understand that fully. I wish I could make a living today, just, with my voice. But the thing about it is we need to get it out there that this is wrong when it comes to a certain age frame. Regardless, we have to protect our innocence. And the people within that community that are doing this are at fault, regardless how you look at it.
What was your handle again, my friend? May I ask? Sorry, I forgot your handle. What's your name?
My name is Little Wolverine, and yes, a lot of people across this country know me.
Little Wolverine, may I ask, why is it so many people have stopped paying attention to what went on with Pedophile Island, And what happened with that little black book, and they're spending more time right now on a few handful of people who are dressing up in drag that could be the far left, who are not actually in the LBG community. Do we actually know that? Why are we spending more time hating and being separative and not focusing on the goal at hand? And that is what is going on behind the scenes with the government and the indoctrination and what is going on, instead of starting more hatred. Let's concentrate on what happened to Pedophile Island, Ghislaine Maxwell. Where's that black book? Why are we concentrating on pedophiles right now and not concentrating on a flight list that is full of the wealthiest and globalist elites that were known pedophiles? Why are we concentrating on some people that are being paid to go out and do what they do, and that's dress up and be flashy? It's an art. It's not a pedophile.
I will sum that up for you with just a few words. Because it is happening in my local community. That is why. At the libraries, at the schools. It is happening in our communities. That is why. Epstein Island is like looking at Jessica Biel doing a bikini walk across the big screen. So Epstein Island, we have no control of. That's why. But we do have control of our communities.
So
that is
pedophilia?
Different.
Pedophilia is not part of your community? Pedophilia? You don't have a children's gate society? Do you know?
Oh, it is.
Closing the floodgates. Okay? Every
I'm
child
not,
represents
I'm
$1 million.
not sitting.
Represents $1 million to the government. And they're 9 times more likely to die and be abducted in control of the government. So are you asking me if pedophilia is not rampant in every community around the world? You just don't see it. They're trying to show you something.
No, he's not. Weldon, he's not denying that.
I see more than you can ever dream of seeing, brother. Trust me. All right? I ain't no spring chicken.
We're on the same team, and I love you, my friend. I love you. Don't get the facts wrong.
Then you know what? Maybe you should lower down your little bit of, antagonistic type, quality there, because you're talking to a learned person. I ain't no spring chicken, and maybe you should lower it down a notch or two, okay? Because I'm trying to have a, respectful conversation here before I start losing my temper.
My apologies.
I have a lot.
My apologies. That's not what I intended. I'm passionate, my friend. I have no anger towards you, and I respect your opinions, and I'm sorry if I came across any other way.
All right. I'll tell you right now, Mr. Maverick here knows me a little bit better than you, and, I do know what I'm talking about, and I just want to leave it at that. I just had a question for you. What gives the people that are actually doing these performances for, 16 and under with their parents? I understand it's the parents' fault just as much. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that these people are actually doing these shows shows me that there is something wrong within that community. And that is proof of the pudding, so to speak.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I see people making a living, but you know what? Do it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Do it at your dance club.
I cannot
do it wherever.
I totally agree with you.
But don't do it in schools, and don't do it in libraries.
Yep.
And then have the police sit there and protect, because the police are the bird in the middle, instigating the shit.
Parents everywhere, you need to go down to your local schools. You need to go to these board meetings, and you're the ones that need to stop this. And it has to stop. You have to stand together. You have to stand united. I absolutely 100% agree. This should not be acceptable in our schools.
Well, this is what my wife was trying to relay, but she's not versed. Right?
You send her my love. You send her my love. I hug you both, and I hope you all the best.
All right, you too. Peace out. Okay, I'm going to hang up now, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry to jump in like this, but
no.
I appreciate you, brother.
Always helpful and always welcome. let's
All
move
right,
on.
brother. Peace.
All right, take care. And let's move on to Antonio. Hello, my friend. Welcome back.
Rick, long time.
Yeah, you haven't called in quite a while. I missed you.
Thank you again for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Wallen.
Hello, my friend. I hope all the best to you and your family.
Thank you. Yeah, so like I have a question, and it's my question is not for hatred, but rather I ask it in love. So just to get that straight right from the beginning. So I've heard you reference God, and my God says in Deuteronomy 22:5, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garments, for all that they do are an abomination unto the Lord. So I'm not sure what your stance is on that. And,
well, I will tell you right now, I'm more of a spiritual person, and over the years I have become to be more welcoming and accepting and understanding of religion. I believe in what's called the mastermind effect. I choose science, but with a strong side of spirituality, and I have begun to believe that there is such a thing as God. If you'll prohibit me to interject my hypothesis, and this is scientifically proven, that everything is made up of atoms, protons, neutrons, molecules. Everything has a vibration. A rock vibrates. A solid vibrates slower than a liquid, and when we heat up a liquid, it vibrates faster. And we, as human beings, know that the fastest known vibration in the universe is the human brain. And it was documented at the end of World War II, when the war ended. Everybody in Europe knew the war was over. But there was a 12-hour delay in communication, so everybody in America did not fully know and understand that what had happened. But it was documented that people woke up in the middle of the night, came out in the streets in America in their housecoat and slippers, and said, "Did you feel that? What was that? Was that an earthquake? What was that?" And it's documented. It's called the mastermind effect. It was written by Napoleon Hill. It's when two or more like-minded individuals get together for the same purpose or common goal. You felt it at church. You felt it at pep rallies. You feel it at concerts. You feel it at motivational speakers. Okay? Inside, and God.
So this is sorry, Weldon, but I just wanted to ask you about the question. But the thing is that
I'm telling you,
this is your opinion, right? It's more based on your hypothesis rather than any type of fact or anything like that, correct? Is that you said your hypothesis?
I'm stating science. I'm stating science.
Okay, so what you're stating is fact.
Well, I'm saying that it's not that I don't believe in God. I think that maybe a lot of people believe in God, but they call it different names. So that's what I was trying to get to.
Right. So you would agree that there's only one God, though. There's only one true and living God.
I would
agree to that.
I would agree that everybody has a definition of God. Again, I'm spiritual.
Right. That's not really answering. Okay, so let's go. Can we go back to the question? So my God says this. So you don't believe in what my God says. I understand if if we don't, we may not serve the same God or whatever. But I'm just saying that's what my God said.
What possible good outcome is going to come of going around to everybody's opinion of what they believe in God and what their opinion is of God?
That's the thing. It's not my opinion. It's based on what my God says. It's not an opinion of mine.
So I believe that you need to have faith, and if it wasn't for faith, we would.
I do have faith.
I would believe
I do believe.
I thank you for your faith. I love you for your faith, and don't ever give up your faith, because that is what is going to transform humanity into civilization. Thank you for your faith.
Well, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, like, I'm not sure. We don't really seem to share the same thoughts on that. Then.
Thank you.
Well, at least we are still friends, and
Yes, we are.
Rick, it was great to call in and hear your voice, my friend. All the best to you.
Thank you.
May God watch over you and protect you.
You as well, my friend. I appreciate the call.
Thank you.
It's
All the best to you, Wellen.
Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the next caller. Who do we have on the line now?
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are
Wonderful. Now that you're here, wonderful.
Oh, you're a good talker. You really are. After calling in last night, I wound up falling through some rabbit holes, and I wrote a big long list of stuff. I'm going to stick to the subject though, because on that list was some of this discussion for today. Some of the stuff that I found out, that Pfizer and Moderna apparently
wait. I just need to caution you. We have to be very careful what we say about any of that stuff, because if you say one wrong thing, I have to take this down off YouTube. So just please, I want to be able to leave it up.
Certain places where certain chemicals and I know certain chemicals
can we just
come from certain places and stuff.
For tonight, can we please just leave that stuff alone and focus on the subject at hand, please? Because I don't.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, all I was gonna say, and I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking there, and I do apologize.
Yeah.
But there are certain companies that people do not realize that are actually responsible for funding these over-the-top shows and indoctrination camps. That was quite the rabbit hole I fell through, and so when we talk about the bird and different wings and stuff, there is a much bigger body of the bird, I think. And we're forgetting about massive corporation inputs and whatnot as well. I love blaming JT for everything, as by now you may know.
Let's blame business and profit. And I'm going to talk about what you're talking about, but underlyingly, so it doesn't jeopardize Rick's show.
Yes.
But when it comes to business, I understand that there are a lot of people who can profit largely from having the next generation experiment and gender and utilize a very profitable hormone, and they can make money. So I mean, is that a question? Is that a question that perhaps should be examined, and why maybe they're pushing this agenda? Does it have anything to do with greed or separation?
100%.
100%. Thank you.
100%, and part of the whole major agenda, as I'm sure most of the population are kind of aware of. And I don't know if you saw David Leatherwood's video that he put out recently from Gays Against spoke out about Gays Against Groomers. Powerful video. I think everybody needs.
I just heard about
everybody needs to watch that. He spoke everything that I thought and felt through all of this, and I hadn't heard anybody mentioning him, so that was part of the rabbit hole that I fell into. Also, there's got to choose my words here. Bear with me. So at some point in time, I don't know if you all remember Trudeau saying that Canadians have no core identity, no mainstream There's no mainstream core identity. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, that I believe was part and parcel in laying the groundwork to all of this madness, because that was part of the separation. That was part of the, the madness. And we have, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. There's some stuff I'd love to say, but I'm not sure I should say. So I got to be careful.
So you're 100% on board with the fact that they're trying to separate us, and you're concurring and agreeing that there is all kinds of things going on the sidelines to distract us from what is actually going on. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So let's not distract from the fact that we're talking about the LGBT community tonight.
I'm not, I wasn't, no, I'm not trying to distract from that at all. I'm just saying that the innocence of the LGBT community that we are familiar with and have learned to adapt and grow to love and embrace, I don't believe that it's the same, one and the same, that is involved in the over-the-top things that are happening in our schools and our libraries and all that kind of stuff. Am I making myself clear enough there?
Thank you. 100% wholeheartedly agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I get a little muddled sometime when I have to censor my words, because then it makes my eyes cross and all that kind of silliness and whatever. And I'm trying to be very, very careful with what I say. But that's why I encourage everybody to look up David Leatherwood from Gays Against Groomers. He was very eloquent, and I think he spoke the hearts of all genders involved in all this, all the ones that are, all the good people. Anyway,
Again,
I don't even know how to say it.
Again, I'm spiritual, but bless him and keep your goddamn hands off our children.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And, I kind of get where that was all coming from. I would not say I'm religious, but I am spiritual. And the way I've lived my life through the experiences through churches myself and such, I've come out the other side as being spiritual. And if you want to call it the power of love, it's the power of love, and whatever name you want to put under it that makes you identify with or whatever, then that's what it is. But I believe, and anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up because there are people we're getting so focused on the police and so focused on JT and whatnot. There are definitely absolutely much more powerful and influential powers in play here that I kind of did not pay as much attention to as I should have until I fell through that rabbit hole last night. So.
Eye on the prize, right? Yeah. Eye on the prize. Anyways, you have a wonderful night. It was wonderful talking.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to our next caller. Patrice. Is it Patrice?
I am spiritual, and the way I've lived my life through.
You might want to turn your volume down.
Feedback.
The delay is maybe going to confuse you there. Are you on the line? Are you with us?
And we're having a pee break.
Who?
There you are.
Hi.
Yeah, it's you. That's right. You're still wondering if it's you. It's you.
It's me. Is that you?
Anyway.
Patrice.
So I just wanted to bring that up because there are people
oh my goodness. Well, we maybe need to move on and just
move on.
Put her. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Patrice. Bye.
Okay, let's move on to our next caller. Who's on the line with us?
Surprise, Rick. It's Rob.
Hi there. How you doing?
I didn't get a chance to leave a message there. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. Go ahead and ask your question of Weldon.
Well, my question, it's basically, if I had to, and your guest name again, I'm sorry.
Weldon, he's Barrie the Thong Man.
Hi.
Okay.
Pleasure to make
So if
your
I had to
appointment,
ask,
friend. Ask me anything you want.
okay, so are you a parent? Do you have children?
I do. I coached hockey for 7 years. I had 3 stepdaughters, and I have a son. He's 26.
Okay, so I think what some of the people would like to know, I kind of get it, I understand, but if a child comes to you and asks you, what is gay? What would be your explanation for that? What would be your answer for that?
Oh my, that is not my job. I would ask that child if I could please go to their father, their mother, their brother, their sister. That is leaving it open for grooming. You do not talk to any child about that. If they come to you as a coach, we are taught to not be in a dressing room alone with a child. You have to be with another adult, not just 2 children. You do not discuss that stuff with children. That is something, and you know, there are so many children who have parents, much like myself growing up. I could not discuss those things with my parents. I hope they have some other kind of outreach that they can go to, a brother, a sister, a cousin, somebody that they can trust. It's not always available. And this is where the schools need to have a counselor, but it needs to be drawn at that line. A counselor needs to identify the problem and support that child, and not direct that child without the complete knowledge of the parents and as to what's going on. Accept the child and let the child know.
Well, let me ask further on this question, if I may, Rick.
Yep.
If it requires, I mean, how old would you have to say that you were when you first had to acknowledge to another person that you were gay?
Wow, that's a deep story. My father, do you ever remember the show All in the Family, Archie Bunker?
Yes, I do.
My father reminds me wholeheartedly of Archie Bunker. He was your typical bigot. And my father used to drop the N words and the C word, you know, and he talked about gays openly, and I never understood what he meant. I actually thought until, wow, how old was I? I think I was about 22 or 23, that I actually thought if you shook hands with a gay person, you could catch AIDS. And again, that has to do with education and indoctrination. So my question to you, I guess, is a question to your question. Where did I finally wake up? When I realized that I need to educate myself.
Exactly. You know, what it amounts to is it's in the past, it was more of a in the kind of a private domain. It wouldn't be my choice to just walk up to anybody, regardless of how they're dressed or anything else, and just say, hey, are you gay? It's not my choice to ask a person if they're gay, but if a child should ask their parent what is gay, should the parent of a monogamous relationship between a male and a female, that's a normal relationship, be exposed? You know, when is where is the ultimate line that says if you're gay, then be gay? But it's not for everybody. I fully see that, but it's kind of like it's a big neon sign going on these days, you know, about gays, LGBTQ, all of what's going on, and it's kind of like it's awful loud. It's a lot of noise, but you can't expect everyday Christian people to accept the idea that their child may walk to them one day and ask them that question, what is gay? Because that goes against their beliefs.
You have a wonderful Southern drawl, and I believe that you're probably from the breadbasket of the United States. May I ask where you're from, my friend?
Rick knows where I'm from.
Well,
I'm from the deep. I'm from the deep south of Louisiana.
Yes, sir. And you guys have a deep faith down there, and you love your church and you love your God. Am I correct to assume that?
Well, and whenever it's brought to somebody's attention, then it goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Only the evil serpent shook them and put things in their minds and presented them with dark things, you know. But I heard a quote from somebody I know, and it's kind of like that question's on my mind. If you have the freedom to be gay, then why should we not have the freedom to accept you're gay? But not to be, we don't need to know who's gay and who's not gay. That's up to one's choice to be gay. It's not for somebody to ask a question.
I don't think they're trying to sign you up, my friend. I don't think there's a ban that goes around.
No, don't get me wrong on that. Don't get that confused. The fact is in order to cause order, it means that Christian, God-loving people, they don't want their children to know what gay is ultimately is if they get grown out here in the grown-up world and they feel like that's adequate and that suits their life, great, more power to them. But it's this forcefulness. It's sort of like everybody back in the day didn't get a Playboy Hustler magazine. They didn't get all of this stuff. It wasn't in everybody's houses. It was forbidden.
So can we agree that this should not be pushed upon children? I think that's where we agree. As you become an adult, if you experience somebody who's gay, then and you want to kind of go in that direction and experiment, then that is your choice as an adult. But let's leave children out of this. Can we agree upon that?
But the only way is sort of like the racist thing, you know, when people start talking about racist this and racist that. True racism only goes away when people bury the hatchet and the handle. They have to put the handle in the ground too, which means that if you're gay, just be gay. But don't go running around with a billboard with a rainbow painted on it saying, hey, we're gay, we're gay, we're gay, we're gay, and then expect for people to accept that. That's not acceptable to some families, people that have children. It's an early exposure, and quite frankly, I think that everybody over, you know, a certain age, they have a right, but you're talking about a youth mind, and they are very influential. They can be influenced very easily in a young age, and I get that. But the point is it's all of this flaming. Everything's on fire. You know, everything's on fire in the gay communities. Everything's always on fire here lately. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the best resolution to put this fire out.
Keep it out of schools. Keep it out of schools.
You know, and there's nobody waving purple flags and whatever down here at these schools protesting about it. You know, they're all standing as guard in front of these schools. You know, so which one is it? Is it the gays should leave, the LGBTQ should leave the schools alone, or should they be out in the front with their signs and their protests, you know, demanding these equal rights, demanding this protection for being gay? That's not a place, that's not nothing to do in front of the school. That's not something that you should do. Either you got to be gay freely and leave everybody else alone, because everybody else just wants to be male and female. You know, everybody just wants to raise their kids.
Of all the countries in the world, America stands for freedom more than anybody else. You guys yell and scream, and we love you.
Come on, I'm down. I go to Mardi Gras. We got tons of gay LGBT communities.
But you're yelling. You know? You guys are yelling at the top of your lungs. It's even in your national anthem, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and I love it. We you know, our in our hockey rinks, the music broke down, and in Canada we sang your national anthem. We know it by heart because we believe in you and we agree with you, and it's all about the land of the free, the home of the brave. So people need to be free to express themselves, as long as you're not pushing it on little children and you do not push pedophilia. So we're on the same page.
I think that everybody in every sector
Thank you,
Okay,
my
well,
friend.
we need to wrap it up. So just a final thought, if you
Well,
would.
then,
Have a good night.
I think that everybody should just come together and quit waving all these different flags and
Yes,
stand
sir.
together as people.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You know,
Thank you.
and give somebody the right to not have their kids exposed to the gay life or whatever that is. Give them a chance to mature and make that decision for themselves. Not for it to be forced on them. You know, and it's sort of unholy to corrupt such a child's mind. You know, that's what the Bible always teaches. Well, Rick, I appreciate your time. Appreciate your guest. And y'all have a good day. And I hope the weather is nice.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let's move on to who do we have on the line? Hello. Go ahead. Uh-oh. Looks like we're on hold or something. I'm not sure. All right, let's move it back. Here's Donna, I think, is up next. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Rick.
How's it going?
Good. How are you? Good. How are you?
Well, just fine. Say hello to Weldon, Barrie,
Is that
Thong
Donna
man.
that goes?
Yes, it sure is. You know who
Hello,
it is.
you beautiful freedom fighter. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Wonderful. As always, doing what I gotta do to keep the world beautiful, my dear.
That's right. Well, something popped up saying that you were on, so I figured to pop in and support Rick. He supported me through everything I was going through, and now I'm here to support you.
This is
I-
Donna, for you don't know, from Clouthub Dairy. Customer complained about a Canadian flag. God forbid. You know, we all have our battles to pick, but some of the haters out there don't like that we fly Canadian flags. And this beautiful woman, Donna, had a flag, and we went down and we fought for her rights. And again, we're fighting, and it's a nonstop, ever-ending battle. So, Donna, I love you, my dear. And what can I do to answer any questions you have?
Well, I love you too. First question is, when are you going to come paint my bedroom? And second question is, I've looked into the SOGI, SOGI,
yes,
and that indoctrination being pushed in on schools currently.
Yep.
I was wondering what your thoughts are to make sure that we can put a stop to that in a peaceful fashion like we always do. What's the best route you think we should be able to take without the government overreach of $25,000 fines, which just was announced, I believe, yesterday?
That was just announced. So good on you for knowing that. Anybody who denounces the LGBT community and goes against their indoctrination. Now, to step a little off topic, I was arrested at the Aurelia Hospital for protesting against Rick, something that we can't talk about. And I fought it, and I called them out on what's called a Form 1. And a Form 1 is a infringement upon our Bill of Rights, Section 2, subsection A, B, C, and D. So if we collectively want to protest, especially, and there's a subclass, especially if it's in the interest of the public, then we are well within our Bill of Rights. I suggest everybody gets together, including the LGBT community, the gay community. This is not a time to separate. This is a time to unite. We get all you wonderful trans. Christ, I'll go out and drag. I haven't done it in a while. I'd love to put a dress on. And let's go out together. Let's go to the schools, or not the schools, but to the community centers, to the city halls, to the counselors. And we need to do it, legally, and we need to protest our government. So bomb them with protesting letters against the fact of this indoctrination against our children.
It's very scary. It is happening. My stepson, he's 10 years old, and the things they're even teaching him in school, he has to have pronouns. Okay, first off, he's 10 years old. Don't tell him that he has to put pronouns in a bracket, okay? I'm going to just say it. Boys have penises, girls have vaginas. Do not push what you feel is right on anybody else. Okay, I'm not too sure when the LGBTQ ABC 123 started, but when I was growing up, we didn't push that on anybody. We knew who the gay people were. We knew who the lesbians were. You know, we just showed them respect. We invited them to parties. They were able to come to the movies. You know, and we can sit being really nice to one another without judgment. We got to get back to that. And
kids don't judge.
It's got to get back to that.
Kids don't judge.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke earlier about my father being like Archie Bunker. And when I moved from Omimi to Scarborough, I saw my first in-person real black guy. And I went to a school, Charles Gordon, and there was 2 black guys and 1 Chinese guy. Craig, Greg, and Lay. I won't mention his last name. You know what? I went and joined the track and field team. Here's a short, fat, white kid, and I got Greg to show me how to high jump. I was the highest jumping fat white kid in Scarborough, and I played basketball with Craig, and I joined the archery team and the chess team because I wanted to know what Chinese people were about, because when my father spoke of them, I couldn't understand why it was negative. Now, you can believe what you've been indoctrinated to believe, or you can go out and become a critical thinker and learn for yourself.
Oh, I did the same thing, Weldon. My dad told me, I'm going to just say it, when I was in grade 7, I moved up to Barrie, and I met the first black kid at the school in Barrie. My dad saw me talking to the boy, and he told me, if you ever bring home a black kid, pack your shit and leave. Yep. And that's when I was in grade 7. By the age of 13, I packed my shit and I left, and I never went back because it was indoctrinated into his culture and his society. Mind you, my dad voted for Trudeau and is proud to be that, and it's caused division with everything that's going on in my family life in that aspect. But, you know, we just, now when I see him, we don't talk politics and we do not talk religion, because I was ousted by the Greek Orthodox Church because I didn't marry in their church. So now I'm disowned by the Greek Orthodox Church.
Again,
so, you know,
separation. We cannot separate.
Exactly.
We will never win this battle. For those of you who believe in God, for those of you who don't believe in God, and for those of you who are spiritual, okay? Everything that you know, everything that you've learned, and everything you've been indoctrinated to believe in will only happen if we unite globally, okay? The religious people, their Bible states that God will return upon our unification, okay? Whether or not you believe it or not, it's the only way to go. We need to stop the hatred. We need to collectively love and unite. I don't care if you're Russian. I don't care if you're German. I don't care if you're Ukraine. There's only one common denominator, and that is the globalist elites, the government, the corruption. Okay, Donna, you're a mother. You're a sister. You're a child. We're all beautiful creatures, and we all believe in one thing, and that is to do what's right.
Yeah, and you know me, I do what's right, and I don't judge anybody, and I respect everybody, and I'm always smiling. You can never bring me down, and more people just got to be like that. We got to remember where we came from in a sense, and who we've become with doing our own homework, not the things that have been pushed upon us. But I do believe drag queens, they got to be out of the schools. They should not be in libraries. They should not be performing. If you want to dress in drag, sure, go do it in a bar at nighttime on a stage, but do not do it in front of any children. And I don't think anybody under the age of 18 should be able to see that. You can't even buy a scratch ticket until you're 18 years old. But yeah, let's go watch some guy with his schlong hanging out in a little mini skirt, dreaming about unicorns and kitty cats with wings. Okay, I'm not okay with that. And the books that come along with it, that's being read out to these kids. You know, that should be something you need a license for, to maybe be a drag queen as opposed to a driver's license here in Ontario.
Damn straight. And if the voting counted, remember who you voted for, because that is the prick that is putting these in legislation now. So amen. If you're not religious, amen. If you are religious. And Donna, I love you. And you're right. Let's keep it out of our schools. Let's keep it away from our children.
That's right. Love you, Weldon. And Rick, thank you so much for everything that you continue to do. I know a few of my Freedom family has been a little upset with some of the things, but I love and respect you for giving me the time and your platform to have my story heard, and to have people like Weldon and Chris Sky and Brian, all those people on and allowing their voices to be heard, no matter what division that still caused. I appreciate and respect you.
Thank you. Likewise, I appreciate you calling in tonight, Donna.
All right. Have a great night, guys.
Take care, my friend. Okay,
Bye-bye.
let's move on to our next caller.
On that note, Rick, I want to compliment you on the fact that you have been an exemplary. You are non-biased. You present the truth and you speak the truth. You are what a broadcaster should be. And I want to say on what she said, I just wanted to compliment you on the wonderful job you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Weldon. Okay, are you there? Who do we have on the line?
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Bo Collins. Hello, Mavericks. Weldon?
Hello.
Hello? Oh.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask your question of Weldon. You might want to turn the volume down on that, because it's
feedback.
The delay is confusing you in the background.
Is this better?
Yeah, I think it will be for
I can't
you.
hear you.
Yeah, if you just turn the volume down, then you won't get the delay.
On the phone?
There we go.
I'm on a phone.
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. There you
All
go.
right. Okay, Weldon. Hello, and Mavericks. Yeah, it's Mo calling in. And on this topic, it's funny, I've grown up. Actually, I grew up I spent some time in Barrie, and a very close friend, my best friend at that time, I didn't know. We used to hang out. We used to go partying every weekend up around Barrie, all around Barrie, actually, a whole bunch of us. And we grew up, and he graduated. I didn't. And he didn't have every weekend at the parties, we'd be getting lucky, right? And he wouldn't be. And we'd talk, and we'd say, dude, why aren't you getting your, and he would always, no, I'm waiting for the perfect woman. I'm waiting for the perfect woman, right? And we never figured, okay, well, this guy's got his fucking head on straight, and he knows what he's doing. So anyway, a couple of years later, we're all sitting around, the same bunch. We're all sitting around at a New Year's Eve deal, and we're all pouring out our deals. And he comes out and he says, well, I'm gay. Anyway, well, that hit us like a ton of bricks, right? And apparently he tried to kill himself. He tried to, do himself in, because his father was the principal of the high school where he got busted for selling dope. You know what I mean? So he had all this trying to deal with his condition or his way of thinking of being. He couldn't, and he tried to confide in us. And we all went, dude, you're joking, you're fucking joking. We're all good here. Well, he got hooked up. He started dating men and doing whatever the deal. And, we had to try and straighten him out again. We took him out. We go, come on, we're taking you to the strip joint, the Peelers. He'd come down to the Peelers, watch the Peelers, and nothing, no. So you say, you got to come over and check out Bum Rads over on fucking wherever. So yeah, we did. We had to. You know what? I got hit on, and I'm. Well, I don't know, whatever.
Good
but
on
he
you.
said, yeah, dude.
For being open. Thank
You know what I mean?
Good on you for doing it both ways. Thank you.
You know what? Anyway, so understanding this, what he went through, and he actually came on to me later on and said, you know what? And I said, well, I don't want to say his name, Paul. Anyway, so I said, Paul, you know what? He actually came on to me. It was a spiritual thing, not a. It was nothing. Nothing ever. But I understood how he, because I guess I played Barbies with my sister. I don't know what the fuck made me understand that shit.
Can you do me a favor? Can you turn the volume down on your computer?
Turn it down more. I can't hear him.
On what?
Wherever you're watching the show, turn the volume down
on
your computer because it's causing this crazy delay, and it's that much.
Well, that's these guys fucking around with me. Anyway, okay, I'm away from my TV. I'm outside right now. Is it any better? Like I'm on my phone.
It's done. It's perfect now. Oh, wait.
It's still weird. Let's just. I'll just encourage you to kind of get to the point of the call, and then we can kind of wrap it up.
So anyway, I think they're being exploited. I think the GTB. Are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Just wrap it up for us because the audience.
All right. Well, let me say that I do support the LGBT, whatever the hell they go on with. I think it's being exploited. That's it.
Okay.
The parents know we're all human, right? And a little understanding and don't exploit it as they do.
And, Thank you, sir.
Anyway,
Appreciate the call.
Thank you for your time, Rick. Mavericks, all that. Yeah. Good night.
Take care. Here's Eric. Hello. I think it's Eric.
Hey, Rick, you got me there?
Yeah, go ahead. It's Steve, right?
Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
How are you?
Steve or Eric?
Steve.
Excuse me. I was, hi, Walden. It's a pleasure to meet you finally.
My pleasure.
I see your rig riding around like a taxi cab everywhere I go, so I figured it was about time to say hello.
You must be in Barrie.
In the area, yeah. I see you from, like you said, Aurelia, Midland. You drive that thing. Anyway,
24/7. We got to educate ourselves and educate others, my friend. That's my whole life right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So anyway, I'm off and down in Barrie. One day I saw you in a parking lot. I almost flagged you. I had a question for you about politics. So I'll do that sometime. I live between Barrie and another town, so I'm in both. But anyway, that's kind of separate. I was calling to clear up a little something there on the biblical side of stuff. And so I pulled out my Bible, and I don't think I'm not going to comment on it, just because I'm wondering now if maybe I read this wrong. It was actually something that was once read to me, and earlier one of the guys had called in. Was it Rob? Maybe, I'm not sure. Somebody said about donning the clothes of the opposite gender. That's Old Testament, and I was going to mention something that Jesus said in the New Testament about eunuchs. And I wonder now if I've maybe read it wrong. It talks about eunuchs being born of the mother's womb. And when I first read that, it was told me, I'm telling you the story now, it was told to me that meant gay men or gay people. And I now doubt that. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to drop it. But anyway, if anyone's curious about that, that would be Matthew 19:11. But you should read the verses before that to get a full perspective on it.
I wonder if that's where unicorn came from. I don't know.
That's interesting.
No. Okay.
Yeah. It just says that there are eunuchs made of men. So, like, a man might lose his testicles or whatever, and then there's people born eunuchs. Now, my sister worked sick kids on the child ward there, and there are quite often children born tragically with, what was the word she used? You couldn't determine one gender or the other. And quite often it was a doctor's guess at that point, and they would usually go one way with it. So I don't know what that would look like or what that would be like. I wish those children well, but there are people that are born that way. Anyway, that's beside the point. I appreciate your honesty and your candor, Weldon. I've heard you talk a couple of times. I didn't know this about you, and you wear it well. And the other thing you mentioned about your looks, man, if there's a dead ringer for Gord Downey's face, it's right here staring at me on the computer. and take that one as a compliment.
I got to tell you this story. I asked this beautiful young lady. She looked like Halle Berry. And I said to her, I wish I looked like somebody famous. And she said, you know what? You look like Gord Downey. And everybody at the party kind of went, yeah, you do. And I went, oh, great. Finally, after he's been on chemotherapy for 3 years, I look like him. Sorry, that's my wit. That's my wit. Anyways, it was yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I do kind of resemble Gord Downey. People tell me we recently Woody Harrelson, and which I would much prefer. But yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, no, Gord Downey. Come on, Canadian icon.
Good Canadian.
Yep.
Man. Good Canadian.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Anything you want to
Yep,
add?
thank you
before we
very much,
sign
Rick.
off? We're good. Okay, thank you for the call. Okay, let's move on. Who do we have in the line now?
You got to evolve this South of Man without a plan to master all disasters. Coming to you last.
Welcome, sir.
Already, I like.
Welcome.
I like.
Hey, Weldon.
Yes,
I
sir.
would say you look like Elton John with them glasses on. By the way, not Gord Downey, but since we're on that topic, don't let your son go down on me. Right? I don't care what another man does with his body. That's his prerogative. Okay. After Adam and Eve came along, there was Adam and Steve. Okay, I got a couple of nephews that swing that way, and that's their prerogative. Okay, I've asked my nephews, "How'd you know you were gay?" You know, that's a question a lot of people need to ask. Okay, you know, did you just wake up one day? Because my one nephew, he's a really good-looking kid, man. The women were hanging around him when he was 18, 19 years old, like Rock Hudson. Okay. Now, what he does with his body is his prerogative. Now, when it's being forced upon in schools, I got a problem with that. Okay, it's not cool at all. These are our children. You know, no, there's a lot of mental illness parents out there that shouldn't even be parents, period. Okay, when they're taking their, I wanted to have a boy, but I got a girl, so guess what? We're going to dress that girl up as a boy. Right? And that's where I draw the line on that shit, right? But I've had, when you look like the mouth of the South there, Walden, I've had all walks of life come on to me, okay? And this is a true story, Rick. You want to hear it? Okay. About 10 years ago, my brother owns a really good, big construction company in the Windsor area here, right? And he's busy at this apartment called Lagoyu. And the back of Lagoyu touches almost the Windsor Police Department, right? So I come outside and I got caulking and fucking white paint all over me, right? And I sit down and have a cigarette. This guy comes up, he says, I'd like to, I'm not going to say it because you'll probably get banned. I'd like to do this and this and this to you, right? I said, man, homie, don't swing that way, right? So he's being persistent. I said, listen, I got a wife and kids, man. I don't fly that way. So you don't know what you're missing out on. And he's trying to, you know, he said, I've converted straight people over this and that. And I'm like, buddy, okay. He's just, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I just want to smoke this guy right in his cocksuckers, okay, and shut him up. But it's a no-win situation because the police station is only 50 feet away from where I'm going to smoke him, right? So I flipped it. I said, listen, I don't swing that way, but I know somebody that does swing that way. He says, who's that? I said, my brother. He says, what you look like? He looks just like me. Okay. I said, what's the address? And I'll never forget the address of the apartment. It was 1406.
Oh,
and my brother comes out and says, he says, why aren't you working? He says, why aren't you working? I said, listen, there's a guy that wants a quote on some caulking up in 1406. And my brother's a total homophobe, okay? Like Catholic. Every week, church, whole 9 yards. So I tell the other workers what happened. They said, you're joking me, Leo. I said, no, I'm not joking you. So it goes on later on in the day. I said, you go give that guy the quote on that caulking in 1406. He goes, no, I'll get to it when I get to it. He said, I'll go right now. So he went up to 1406. We took the elevator, the other elevator, and as we watched him go in the door, about 60 seconds went by, and he comes out of that apartment, Rick. His face, he looked like a cherry, like he was going to pop. And we all stepped around the corner. So what were you doing in there for the last hour? Right? We're putting it on him, right? What were you doing in there for the last hour? He said, fucker, Leo, you got me good. I guess the guy cornered him in his fucking apartment. So what time of day it is, right? So, I don't believe in people pushing it that way. Like, I'm just glad that I didn't clock the guy.
Not in schools.
Pardon?
Just not in schools.
Yeah, and you know what? I do what you want to do with your life, okay? Plain and simple. If you want to fly that route, That's up to you, okay? But when you're pushing it on other people, that's where I have the problem, right? Lo and behold, I wasn't 20 years old. Everybody would have been eating this.
Before we go on to our next call, Rick, I want to say something to you. I'm going to tell you a story. My father had a friend, and he called him up one day, and he said to my father, "I think I'm gonna get a gun, and I'm gonna put a bullet in my head." And he goes, "Ray, come on, there's nothing worth that." And Ray was an older guy. He married a younger woman. He said, what is it? Your new marriage? And he goes, "Nah, she's no peach, but that's not it." "What is it, Ray? Is it business? Drop the eight." Him and my dad did the same thing as I do. The fruit doesn't far fall from the tree. HVAC. He goes, close the business down. He goes, "That's not the business." He goes, "Well, Ray, what the hell is worth, killing yourself, putting a bullet to your head?" He goes, "I just found out my youngest son, he's gay." And my dad, being the old school prick, that Archie Bunker, goes, "Ray, wait there. I'm going to load the gun. I'll be right over."
Oh, no.
Yes. Now, I'll tell you something. I went over with Ray, and my father and them, they both did not know at the time. I was just starting to kind of understand maybe I was kind of that way. I didn't know back then. I didn't know. It just kind of happened. But anyways, Ray said something to me. And he said, "What does any parent want? More than anything, what does any parent want? They want their child to be happy. They want them to live and to smile and enjoy life and to be who they want to be." And you know what he said to me? He goes, "I went back through all the photo albums and I looked at my son." He goes, and it dawned on me, through every photo album throughout childhood, he never smiled. Never once did he have a smile on his face. And I realized all the way back from when he was a little child, he didn't know what was wrong. He never knew what the difference between was gay and lesbian. He didn't know, but there was something wrong with him in his mind, and he could never smile. And until the day, and Ray said he can't get the smile out his face now. He came out, he left his wife, his children. Is it right? Is it wrong? If it's in your heart and you're not hurting anybody else, who the hell am I to say that you're wrong or right? This kid now has a smile on his face, and his father was happy that his son, for once in his lifetime, was happy and had a smile on his face. So I don't care what you think. It all boils down to what do you want? What do you want for your children?
And that's the thing, Walden. I got a son. He's 17 years old, and he's had a couple girlfriends, but and I think when I was 17 years old, when I was 14, 15 years old, I was getting BJs.
Right?
I was getting BJs in grade 8, grade 9, right? And I don't know if he's been that way, but if he turned out to be gay, I'd still love him the same way. And I had to talk to him the other day. I say, girl that keeps coming around here. He's got this Asian girl that he's got the hots for, right? And it's like we talk. As I said, "So you like Asian girls?" He said, "Yeah, I really like Asian girls." "Yeah, I used to like Asian girls too until I married your mom." So I married your mom, right? And he laughs, right? But I got another friend, Dave Photo, and I don't know if you can freaking Google that name. Okay, he was gay in 1989. He caught HIV, and that was a death sentence in 1989. Okay, so this guy was one of the most solidest guys I ever seen in my life. Okay, like he'd fucking been to bars with him, fucking, and he's the first guy to, he's got your back all the way, right? Well, as long as he ain't got your ass, right? But he's got your back. He was a really good guy. Grew up with him. I've known him my whole life. And he caught that virus in 1989 with a death sentence. He ended up running past customs on the Ambassador Bridge to about center of the bridge and took a fucking jump over and died. Right? Because he was gay and he didn't fit in and fucking, at 19 years old, right? And it's like, fucking, what a waste.
What a waste.
Right? What a waste. And
Chris-
that's the thing, right? See, I don't get me wrong. I'm not for the in school shit, but these people are born that way, plain and simple. Okay, they're born that way. You just don't wake up and say, I think I'm going to be gay today, and no, it don't work that way. You're born that way.
Rick,
So I've always liked
I hope
my
we're
whole
going to
life.
continue the show. Are we going to continue? Because I'm down to 8%. I want to run downstairs to get my charger. Are we good to continue, or did you want to let the show go, or what's your? Are we okay? I got 8%. 10 minutes left.
And Rick just said it. If you're gay, wrap it up. He's going to wrap it up. If you're gay, wrap it up. Simple. Be safe. Thanks, guys.
Next call. Next.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, no worries, Brad. This is way simpler than everybody's making it out to be, right?
Yes.
The one thing is I don't give a fuck about anybody's proclivity, right? Unless you're like, you got a proclivity towards children, then I give a fuck.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the fact of it is, in this whole fucking thing, it doesn't matter what government you think about and the calamities in whatever society, they are the ones that caused it. Okay? Number one. Now, our friends happen to be low-hanging fruit. They are a tool, a vehicle. Nothing more. And you're right to get the hate off the backs. Okay? Now, we all know that Mr. Trudeau is a Soros bro. Okay? Everybody knows Mr. Soros bro likes to have color revolutions planet-wide.
Was he on that flight?
He's the one that gets all these color revolutions going so that somebody can get a coup going.
Was he on that flight? Was he on that flight list? Yeah, he.
I think I just want to stick to the basics, leave it uncomplicated. This is not the people. Okay? This is Antifa. This is the trans movement. It's not the people. It's not the community. The community is a vehicle, a tool. They are low-hanging fruit because they know it will emote from the communities.
Hold on. You think it's the trans movement or Antifa or both? I don't think
both are Soros fucking funded. They're neocon funded. They are here to drive dissent. But in where? In our communities, amongst ourselves. That's all it is. Do you think these economic crises are by accident every 7 to 10 fucking years?
I don't think anything's by accident, but I didn't know about the.
That's right, my friend. I think you're looking too low, and you know the bottom line is you're saying you want to look at the source. You're right to want to do that. We have to do that locally in order to look at it globally, because these neocon globalists are terrorists, and we have them right here at home.
Let's follow the paper trail.
They are driving the trans movement, the Antifa movement. The Antifa movement gets a fucking notification when it's trans time. Now they're trans Tifa. Come on, people. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 2 is 4. Really? This is way simple. You're right not to fucking join the fight. Right now, it's time to play the duck. That's what we call that. When you're staying out of shit, you keep your head low. We had our fucking movement. And that was the freedom movement, and it's still a freedom movement. And the fact of it is,
I do not know enough to disagree with you. I really, really hope that the transgender community is not involved with Antifa and Soros. I really pray that, and I'm not religious again, I'm spiritual. I hope you're wrong, but again, I've got no fact, no evidence. But again,
it's not okay. But listen. It's not the community. It's not the trans community.
Yes.
These are fucking paid imposters, just like Antifa, just like BLM, just like. There's umpteen of. But just know this. This is not the end. This just keeps coming in waves. Look at Ukraine. Look at where they fucking are now. Look at Libya. Look at Syria. Look at fucking Haiti. We're down there making a fucking mess of things right now. Look at fucking Taiwan. We're down there making a mess right now. Look at fucking, oh my God, there's so many countries right now that are getting it. We're just in line. We're just in line.
Thank you for being awake. Thank you.
Okay, so now, it's not the community. You want to look at the source? We got to look at the neocons. And that means fucking Democrat, Republicans, liberals, fucking
anybody involved with the world.
All of them are involved.
Klaus
They're
Schwab,
all involved.
Bill Gates, George Soros, you're absolutely right.
It has nothing to do with sex, gender, or fuck all. It has to do with them wanting control.
Our main goal cannot be deviated from, and thank you for pointing that out to the people. We have one goal, and that is to out them for their outright lies and totalitarianism. Stop trying to separate us. You're right. 100% right. I agree with you.
And and just as if I might close this up, Rick, for myself, I think every caller tonight was hitting the nail, just not on the head. Okay, and that includes you, my friend Weldon. I think you're running around the edge there, and I know you're wanting to stick with the freedom, but you're missing the head of that nail.
Yeah, no pun intended on the LGBTQ community, but thanks for the head. I thought that was
anytime, my friend, and I'm straight as they come.
Thank you, my friend.
Because the bottom line is, I got more head on my shoulders than anybody's got in their pants.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you, my friend.
And thank you for borrowing me your bar stool.
I'm not Chief Roger. I'm Chief.
Do we have to close the show? Do we have to close the show? Because I want to get my charger. I'm down to 5%. My pause it. I'll be right.
All right,
hang on. Here we go. Weldon's going to get his charger. The conversation will continue. Hang on.
Greetings, brave mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick
Just give me a heads
News.
up when we're on.
Fighting for freedom.
Oh, I just wanted to say your last caller there was pretty on the money. I fucking love him, man. I wish you would maybe connect me with him if you could, Rick. I'd love to have a conversation with him. Yeah, I'm sure you know Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a conversation with him. He sounds like a pretty down to earth kind of guy, you know. Like he's got a lot of the same outlooks I do on things, and you know, I wish I was so eloquent in my speech to speak like him, but you know, hey, I'm 58 years old and I'm just an old lugtard from the other side of the tracks. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like.
I wasn't even quick enough for a pee break, but I managed.
Yeah, well, you're one ahead of me there, bud.
Where are you from, my friend? Whereabouts are you? Canada, U.S.? Where are you from?
I'm from Central Ontario.
Central Ontario, Kingston, Hamilton. What's Central? Barrie.
Oh, I'm right on Lake Simcoe, right across the bay from Barrie.
Kesrock.
Yeah, around that frickin' town. Yeah.
Hey, Rick, do you want to know what a Keswick Virgin is? A Keswick Virgin.
Rick, my wife just said you're muted. You got to unmute your microphone.
So, Rick, you know what a Keswick Virgin is? That's a girl that can outtake her father and outrun her brothers. Oh, I lived in Keswick.
Oh, those are frickin' ice fishing days, bro.
I lived in Keswick for 20 years, so I could tell that joke.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you slide on that one, brother.
I love Kesrock.
Not that I have any say. I've only been here for like 8 years, right?
It's a beautiful town.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Nothing wrong with it. People are good.
What question do you have that I can? Is there anything you want to ask me with regards to the LGBTQ community and these transgender drag shows that are going on, or is there something else that you know? Well, we're trying to remain on track. So, what is it? What is it with?
Put it this way: I was in Ottawa back January, February last year, and I want to know what the frick were you doing? Wearing a frickin' thong, minus 30-degree frickin' weather.
I'd be happy to tell you that.
And you know what? I don't know if you remember me, but you actually signed I had a piece of signboard that I went around and had a lot of people sign for me. You signed that for me then too.
You told me that you would be honored for me to sign it, and then, yes, I remember that. I specifically do. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I was there. I was talking with a bunch of people in regards to doing something stupid, and I kind of, you know, had to be curbed in my way because I'm more of a militant type of guy, right? But anyways, make a long story short, I spent the end of the week there going around and meeting everybody that was there, and you just happened to be one of them.
Well, quickly off topic, Doug Ford, our illustrious premier, I lovingly refer to him as Idiot Ford because he's an effing idiot. If you don't recall, when all the stores were taped off, closed off, you couldn't buy clothing. If any parents out there know that clothing is essential, and our illustrious leader, our premier, Idiot Ford, said clothing is not essential. So something in me snapped, and I said, well, if clothing is not essential, then here you go. So I put a thong on with an upside-down Canadian flag, and I said, if you don't like it, you voted for him. Make sure you prepare yourself who you're going to vote for next time. Make sure if you don't like it, blame Doug for it. So I put on a thong because clothing was not essential, plain and simple. That's just to show the idiocracy of our government. And yes, I've been doing this since 2020. I was in Ottawa in minus 20, minus 25, minus 30, and even minus 35-degree weather because I will die for this country and I will do whatever is necessary to gain back our independence and leave our children alone.
Amen to that, brother.
Thank you, brother.
And I will be the first to say that among my native side of my family and all of my relations, I respect that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm doing it for your
Now,
children and your grandchildren, my friend. For our heritage.
Exactly. We just got to take it back to the matrilineal way of thinking, and not the matriarchal or not the patriarchal. We need to deal with the matrilineal. We need to bring the mothers back, and then we get our sovereignty back.
So you're native. You're native. You're native. Yes.
I am native. I am fully up with everything that's going on. Trust me.
My friend, I want to say to you that my family came here from the 7 Icelandic expeditions in like 1892. I will give 100% acknowledgement that your people were here first, but we've been here a long time, and the only way that we're going to take our country back is through unification. And I hope the native people and the white people and the black people and the Chinese people will unite, because that is the only way we're going to win this war against these globalist elites. And as a native, my first girlfriend was native. My first wife was native. I have a very, very big fetish for your women. Please don't kill me. And I also, anyways.
You know what? Our women are some of the most exotic and most beautiful women in the world. And I fully understand you, brother. I really do. I have love for all the women of my nations and my relations. And I know we're getting off topic here, Rick, but yes, you are correct. We need to bring the matrilineal back, and it is coming. Okay, it's just June 21st, next summer solstice. It's happening, 52 Chiefs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I don't want to get into that right now. It's another topic for another time. Trust me, brother.
Rick will have me on that topic. Rick will have me on, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, Rick has already heard me speak of this topic before. So anyways,
is there a question?
Make a long story short, I don't hold any animosities against anything to do with the LGBTQ plus and all this stuff. But all I have to say, as long as they keep it away from the kids, that's all I care about.
Thank you.
I agree with you 100%. It's all about taking it to the school boards, taking it to the town meetings. People need to go out and advocate their dislikes and their animosities towards this indoctrination of the kids, all the way down to, the father that stood up in front of the school board and said, I'm going to make sure every single one of you are brought up on charges. I love that guy. People like that have my support 100%. And I will do anything and everything I can for the advancement of our younger kids. I have 12-year-old. I have children around me too. It's all I live for. And, as long as I know that my last dying breath was in the preservation of a youngster, I'm all for it. I'll gladly accept it. Right. So that's all I can say. I'm an old time veteran warrior, and I will always be that to my heart. And all I got to say is I'll do everything in my power to make sure my son has a better tomorrow, put it that way. And, I may have, yipped off to you earlier, but I apologize. I don't, but I do. You understand what I'm saying, brother. We all have to have a voice, right?
Involved, right? Send the letter, send the postcards. Please don't sit back. Please don't be a keyboard warrior. Get involved. Contact me on Facebook, Barrie Thong Man, 3 words. Get involved. I can help you. Let's donate to Chris Guy. Let's never give up. And we need to work together. Please make your time valuable and help the world and help our children. Thank you.
Okay, let me say something. You just mentioned a name there. Well, I'm in touch with the people that are orchestrating him. So
am I.
I won't get in touch with him. I'm not in the GTA area. I'm north of that. But personally, myself, I have different beliefs on the way things need to go. There's something happening in South Dakota, Wyoming this next June that's going to be precedent to the unification of the world, not just Canada and Turtle Island, but the world.
Are you talking about the separation of Eastern Canada, Western Canada, and Ontario becoming part of the United States? And I don't want to get off topic. I want to simply...
No. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing at all to do with what you just said. Nothing. Not a single iota. Nothing.
Let's not get off topic then. And I love you, and I love your opinions, and I thank you very much. Rick, and let's move on to the next viewer. And I love you. Thank you very much.
All right, Rick, I've been excused. Have a good night.
Thank you. Great respect, and thank you for the call.
All the respect.
Yes. And here is Sandy.
Stan the man.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Say hello to Weldon.
I'm good. Happy birthday.
What? Whose birthday?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Whose birthday is it?
Mine was Tuesday.
Oh, well, happy birthday to you.
Oh, happy birthday, Stan.
Sandy. Sandy.
Oh, Sandy.
I'm Sandy from Ontario.
Sandy calls in every once in a while and brightens our day with her sunshine.
I hope so.
You do every time you call. I love it when you phone.
I hope so. So I agree with pretty much all your callers. So I'm just going to say this one thing. I'm with Joseph and I'm with Leo. And you know what? I'm against the LGBTQ, so on, in the schools. I'm against it.
Okay.
I don't want it in our education.
Gotcha.
Our children are young enough. I have a nephew in school. And I really hope he's not learning about it because he's an icon.
Sandy, what are you going to do when they start bringing Soji 123 into your school? Because it started in the West and it's moved across all of Canada and it's now in Ontario. And they're trying to.
Well, you may be there now, but we're not here yet. It's not here yet.
But when are you going to say no?
Well, when I say no, I'm going to say no, and I will protest, and I will be loud.
Thank you, because I'm saying no now, and I want people to be aware and what's going on.
You know
be
how?
Prepared. Be prepared.
Let me finish. Do you know how much complication is in towards that when a child doesn't even know? Let me finish, because there's so much chemical form into it. It's disgusting. It makes me sick.
What do you?
I see it where I live.
In regards to what?
What are you talking about?
I live in a small town, and I see it where I live already. And it makes me sick. People are going, hang on, I don't want to swear. People are going homeless from it.
I don't understand what you're trying to tell us. Please verify.
I'm trying to say, just keep it positive. Keep it going. Be careful what you say, where you say it, when you say it. Okay.
Good advice.
Because
thank you. Yeah, we're always
it does
positive.
not run in my family. I don't want it in my family. I have nieces and nephews. They're beautiful children. They're smart. They're educated, and they're very well advanced. So
let me ask you. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What if this thought process? This what if this thought process, this LBGT community?
What if it goes bad?
No, I'm asking you, please let me finish the sentence. What if it happened to one of your siblings, to one of your children to one of your nephews or nieces, what if for some reason
Then I step in.
You step in and do what?
I'm stepping in and I'm negative about it and I'm going to protest about it because I don't want to find out.
So,
it's in school.
Have you,
No,
have
hang
you heard
on a
about-
minute.
You're on two
Hang
you're
on
on
a
you're on
minute.
two different subjects. You're talking about the schools. He's just saying what happens if one of your kids finds out that or comes to you and says that they're gay.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
Well, you know what? I would be very quiet about it and I would have to think about it and then I would have to do something about it.
Well, that is very direct. And I would just like to point out a girl, and her name is, they call me Jazz. And there was a young boy in the United States who at a young age would not play with G.I. Joe, who wanted to play with Barbies. And the parents took.
Well, you know what? And it's what Leo said earlier. It's when they wake up in the morning and they decide.
May I just finish though? This young boy would not go to school on the first day of kindergarten in boys' clothing. He played with Barbies. He dressed as a girl. And there is a documentary out there called They Call Me Jazz. And it's the first time the American government allowed hormone blockers for anybody under the age of consent. The parents took that young boy to a psychiatrist and they tried to convince that child that he was crazy. And
no, he's not crazy. No, let me say something. He's not crazy. He's a boy.
You're right. But I'm just saying, they call me Jazz, and I cannot speculate on every child and every beautiful human being on the planet. But if you feel something and you feel strongly enough about it, we need to encourage you, okay? Unless you're harming other people. But that young, beautiful person has grown up to be a young, beautiful human being, and they call her Jazz. So I'm just saying, keep it out of schools, but we need to educate people when they're ready and when they feel conflict. We need to be there to support them, not indoctrinate them. Don't try.
No,
to
it's not
steer
always
them.
about conflict. It's
Right,
not
but
always
don't-
about conflict.
But don't steer
It's
them in the
about
direction.
normalcy.
Don't try
It's
and
about
teach them.
normalcy. It's
Don't
about
try and
being
teach-
normal.
Exactly, but don't try and teach them to be something that you want them to be. Don't teach them. Let them experience life as it is, and when they
Boys
come
are
to you.
boys and girls are girls, okay?
Really?
So
Because
I
Jazz
was brought
was
up
not a-
old
Jazz
school.
was
I
not a
was
boy.
brought up old school. Girls are girls, boys are boys.
Jazz
Girls
was,
wear dresses, boys wear pants,
Jazz
okay?
was not a boy. No. That is not. It's not.
Oh,
open
no,
co-
really? No?
Jazz was not a boy. Jazz.
I know Jazz is not a boy.
Jazz
Jazz was
did not
like,
associate with a
I
boy.
don't want to say the word on here. I don't want to say the word. So I'm just saying, I'm against it. It's against my religion. It's against my belief.
So you would rather somebody be angry
And I'm a woke.
miserable
I'm a
miserable and pretend to be something they're not. I get it. Thank you very much.
Pretending to be
Thank
something
you.
they're not when they
Thank you.
when they don't even know how to be real. Are
Thank
you
you.
kidding me?
Thank you
When
for
they don't even know
thank
how
you
to be
for
real.
enforcing your opinion on other people. Thank you. Don't enforce it
Yeah,
on
I
someone
know.
else.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I know
Okay,
where
but
it's coming from.
before we end the call,
I'm sorry, Rick.
that's okay. Can we go here for a moment and can we say
It's a sticky topic.
yes, it is, and
It's sticky and it makes me frustrated,
Sure.
and I get so frustrated with it. It's just like I'm learning.
sure, yeah, and
Please
so
know-
maybe
please
maybe
know
I
that I
can
love
maybe
you.
I can mediate here just a
Please
little
know
bit.
that I love
So
you no
Sandy,
matter what.
I'm going to say this. There's nothing that you're going to say, and there's nothing Weldon is going to say that's going to change either of your positions here tonight. But what we can maybe agree on is to tolerate each other's place on this.
Yeah.
Right.
Tolerate each other's beliefs.
Right. So if we can get back to a place of tolerance, I think that
I don't know. Do you know where it is? Because I don't know where it is anymore.
I do. I know exactly where it is, Sandy. It's just you kind of staying in your lane. Weldon kind of stays in his lane. You know,
Yeah.
he's just doing his thing. You're doing your thing. You're not bothering each other. And and just leave it at that
but you
and
know
say
what, Rick?
you know,
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So where I live now, here where I live, and I don't want Weldon to interrupt me, I'm just going to say this once.
Yeah.
Because what I see here, it's appalling. It's appalling, and it's becoming every day.
What specifically are you referring to? The stuff going on in the schools?
Boys in dresses. I see girls doing whatever, and they're just changing their trans. They're changing their gender because they want to fit in.
Where's this? This is running rampant.
I'm not telling you where it is.
Well, in the United States, Canada, I just want to know where it's running rampant.
No, I'm not
Never heard of
telling
it.
you where it is. I'm not telling you where it is,
So
but
we
I will
can't-
say this. It's everywhere.
Thank you. Rick, let's move on.
It's everywhere.
Well,
Let's move on.
Sandy,
It's in the world.
I love you, and I really like it when you call in because Weldon, normally when Sandy calls in, she's just like full of a positive energy, and
I'm
she's one of
full
my
of
favorite
life.
people. She really is.
I can feel
and,
your
you know,
jubilee.
on this
I-
particular subject, you know, I see that there's a lot of friction.
I
It's-
send my love and my heart to you.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I talk to my family about it. I do, and I do talk to my family about it, and it's a topic of conversation because I'm just curious. I'm aware and I'm concerned.
I understand, Sandy. Let me just say this before we sign off, okay? Just keep in mind that
Okay.
when you're seeing all of this stuff, and as we all are on social media, that all of these subjects are amplified because it's very focused on us. They keep feeding us
Yeah.
information and videos and articles and pictures
Yeah.
that they think that we want to see or that they want us to see. So it does amplify things. So when you say it's like everywhere, I understand what you're saying, but just keep in mind.
Thank you. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It
frustrating.
amplifies things, right? So, you know, sometimes we just need to
And
kind of
you
turn
were
it off and
talking-
go for a
I'm
while.
sorry.
You know?
Yeah. Can I say something?
Of course.
When you talk about the Storytime drag queen thing and you were posting videos and everything, and it's just like it's I just want people to be safe.
Sure. I
I
understand.
just want people to be safe. I want men and women to be safe all times, regardless of the situation, regardless of what their life is. And I do love children. I love children very much.
Then
You know what?
Get involved in government and politics because they're the ones that are doing
I get involved. I volunteer.
please,
I do my
please.
thing. I get on council. I talk about it. And
Then
if I
bless
see
you.
any
Thank
child
you.
being harmed, let me finish. If I see any child being harmed, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to say it. Because I love children and I have nieces and nephews and I treat them like my own.
And there you have it. Sandy, I hear what you're saying.
Thanks.
And I know that you and Weldon are actually closer on all of this than you realize.
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Love
I
you.
think so
Good
too.
night. Love you. Good night.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you.
I'm sorry, but you know what? Hey, I'll call back soon. I'll call on another time.
Looking forward to that, as always.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Sandy. And that brings
Have a
us,
good-
thank you. And that brings us to the end of that. And it brings us to the end of our calls. So probably a good time for us to wrap it up tonight. Weldon?
Can I finish with the freedom prayer?
the Freedom Promise.
Yes, here, hang on just a second. Here we go. Okay. In fact, why don't I do this? You go ahead.
This comes from an author who wrote a book 100 years ago. His name is Napoleon Hill, and this is in the 5 anyways, it's the most powerful paragraph I've ever read. I'm a construction worker. I don't know if you can see my hands. I'm not somebody that absorbs, information. I have to read things and read it over and over again. But I read this thing 2 or 3 times. It's the most powerful paragraph I've ever read. And Rick, I think I've read it to you once before. It only took a few times to memorize this. If we all followed this most powerful paragraph I've ever read, we would not need a contract. We would not need lawyers or judges. We could work on a handshake. And closing at the end of the night, Napoleon Hill. No wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others will ever bring me success. I will succeed because I will believe in you, I will believe in others, and I will believe in myself. Thank you and amen. Whether or not you're religious, whether or not you're spiritual, we all need to get along. We all need to love. And the only way we're going to win ourselves out of World War III is through unification. And Rick, thank you, my friends, for everything you do. I love you. And I wish I was there to hug you right now. And next time I see you, you're going to get a double dose of
Thank you, Weldon. It's been great to have you on again tonight. It was one of the most interesting shows we've done in a long time. Also, I think one of the most controversial, and I think from the comments that I've seen in the chat, started off pretty divisive, but here at the end, you know what? I think that there is a little bit more unification.
Can they send me their comments? Is there any way that you can forward those?
There's just too many, man.
Too many, eh? Too many.
Thousands, probably.
Thousands, eh? Wow.
Hundreds, anyway. I don't know. I can't count them. They go by too fast.
Well,
all the platforms.
If y'all want to ask those questions, my Facebook is Barrie Thong Man. I live in Barrie. It's 3 words, Barrie Thong Man. I will be happy to speak to each and every one of you, because we are never going to win this world war that we're in, World War III, unless we can unify. And whether or not you're religious, whether or not you're spiritual, whether or not you're gay, whether or not you're lesbian, we need to unite. And Rick is doing the work that needs to be done. He's unifying the world. And Rick, thank you for being unbiased. And thank you for keeping your emotions out of it, because we all need to learn what everybody else is thinking and unite to come to our own conclusions. So Rick, for that, you're doing the hardest job that I know of, and you're doing a beautiful job. And for all those that criticize Rick, stick it up your ass, because he's the guy's doing what a real journalist does. He's doing what a real journalist does. Rick, I love you, and peace and love, bud. Peace out.
Thank you. Love you too, man. You have a great night, folks. Weldon, Barrie Thong Man.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to sign off, and there goes Barrie. And when we remove that, and here I am just with you, and we can now proceed to wrap up the show. If you have not liked, shared, subscribed, done all that stuff, please consider doing it. We are growing over on Rumble. Please subscribe over there. Many nights now, we're actually getting more viewers on our Rumble channels than we get over here on YouTube. And we're growing on Facebook too. Also over on Twitch and Odyssey as well. So you can catch us over there. And then after the show airs on all the regular platforms, we're on Clouthub, Gab, Twitter, some others where we post the rebroadcast. So yeah, make sure you hit the notification bell if you do subscribe on YouTube. And again, please share. And if you haven't hit the like button, please consider doing that on YouTube. That really helps break through the algorithm and push us up in the search engine rankings. And that is extremely important. We are definitely being suppressed on YouTube. Now, tomorrow night, we have a huge show lined up for you. I think it's going to be huge anyway. We will be having some guests on who have had the Kool-Aid. And because they've partaken in the Kool-Aid, they have some stories to share about that. And we also will have I guess you would call this person a holistic wellness professional who will have his own perspective on what you might do to protect yourself or keep yourself healthy if you have partaken in Kool-Aid. And I think that should be an interesting conversation as well. So that's tomorrow night here. I'm calling it sort of a health conference because we'll have all of these folks all together, and then you guys can actually join in and call in and ask questions and get answers to some of your health questions and consult with this holistic healthcare professional. So that will be sort of an alternative to, well, how shall I put it? The pharmaceutical mainstream medicine narrative that everybody is given these days. So we'll provide not just insight into some of the problems and issues, but potentially some alternative solutions for people. You know, it's all about vitamins and good living, and a little bit more than that too. So you know what I'm getting at. That'll be here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, Soup Mama is going to be on. She's going to be talking about her ongoing efforts to help the people in East Palestine, Ohio, where that train derailment spilled all of that vinyl chloride, which those officials set on fire, which was an unbelievable act of I don't know what, stupidity at best. And she's going to talk about her efforts there to, as I say, bring aid to the people most in need at ground zero. She's going to be heading back to East Palestine shortly. So all of that and more coming up over the next couple of days right here on the Maverick News Channel. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the Maverick News Channel, where we have the antivirus programs for your mind. I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with that special broadcast on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.